live.
I'm recording.
Tell your friends you're listening to the Verhoeven Effect podcast. I'm Conlon,
And I'm Nathan.
and we have another very special episode. We have the 1996 movie Broken Arrow. Nathan, do you have a history with Broken Arrow?
I saw this in the theater,
All right.
and when the first time I got HBO in my life, this seemed to play every 5 hours.
Yeah.
I was watching. It was on a lot, so I watched it a lot on HBO. And I think I own a copy somewhere, and I have this huge DVD collection. So
I had a VHS copy, so this definitely was in the rotation. Um, I know I watched it a bunch, but it feels like this is the first time Well, I remember people always saying like this was a dumb movie, and I was like, "No, it's cool." And then and I watching this time around, I was like, "Yeah, it does seem dumber this time around, but I still think it's a cool movie."
this movie has the strengths of you can just watch it.
Yeah,
Really jump in at any point and be entertained.
yeah,
And it is mostly carried by the crazy performance of John Travolta, which I forgot how weird.
yeah,
This was like Bad Lieutenant,
yeah,
Nicolas Cage almost
yeah.
kind of performance, but it actually worked in the movie because everyone else was, fairly undynamic.
Yes, yes. Well, yeah. There's basically Christian Slater is basically his only foil, and he's not really being extra you know, character actory in this. He's just kind of a guy. And
Yeah,
then every other character is pretty much useless. So where they have like Frank Whaley shows up and like, they give him a name and everything. It was like, is this gonna be important? It's like no.
nope.
uh, oh, they did have Howie Long show up back in the days where it's like, can we make a movie star out of him? It's like, nope. So,
Yeah, he looks like an action hero, but that's about it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he can deliver meathead lines. That's all he needs to do. So,
Yeah, because he looks like a cartoon, like he looks like a comic book drawing.
yeah, yeah. But he's a charismatic guy. Just that doesn't always translate into acting. So,
Yeah,
and here they have him acting, which is even worse. And then they celebrate his acting. It's like that's stupid. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It's a John Woo movie, so um, which that's like the biggest thing about it. It's like it's John Woo, so because like John Woo, it's like like his movies are like David Lynch action movies where it's like it's magical realism. It's like these are the smartest people doing the dumbest thing in the most flashy way possible for very short-sighted reasons, and you just have to go with it. um, yeah, this is around that. Yeah, I had like the you had like the intersection of action trilogies. You had the John Woo action trilogy and the Nicolas Cage action trilogy around this time,
yes,
because this is John Woo's second American movie. Did Hard Target with Jean Claude Van Damme, which is basically a dangerous game ripoff, or where a drifter is going to give $1 million if he can like not get killed for a day or something like that, and then turns out he's like some martial arts hero or whatever.
yes. Everyone loves that most dangerous game story. They just tell different variations of it.
Which I don't think I've seen scenes of Hard Target. I've never actually watched the movie. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's interesting.
Okay.
It's good. I mean, once you once you're familiar with like, oh, I'm gonna watch John Woo movies, especially like some of his Hong Kong ones and a lot of his American ones. It's like, oh, you know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
he
I
does.
mean, some of his American movies seem less than his Hong Kong movies, but also it seems like the Hong Kong movies are, the safety's not the most large, not the
No,
largest concern there. So,
no, the conception to follow through on some of his Hong Kong movies, like Bullet in the Head. We watched a few of them.
Hard Boiled and The Killer are his big ones.
Okay, didn't we watch Bullet in the Head on here,
Maybe
or did we watch?
I can't remember what Bullet the Head is. Maybe you watched it. I don't know.
Well, I know we watched at least one, maybe two John Woo movies from the Hong Kong era,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, they really were just kind of like Yeah, get some. Are we doing wire work here? Sort of.
Well, yeah, because that's where like Chow Yun Fat comes from, and where the guns akimbo thing. I don't know if it started with John Woo, but he just made it more popular, I guess. You know, John Woo just loves Italian guns and
Yes.
gangster movies. I mean, he used to make like martial arts movies, and then he
Right.
started making these like these like gung action movies, and then that just became a genre unto itself. Which I believe it starts with Better Luck Tomorrow, which is a fine low budget action movie, but that's where you get the first instance of like dual wielding Berettas with Chow Yun Fat. And then, of course, he dies at the end of the movie, so they make a sequel, and he magically has a twin brother, and it's far more, and they just do everything bigger. It's actually a really cool movie. Um, and then probably his best movie is The Killer, because that's probably just a cross section of like this is the best performance, this is the best like story, and this is really good action. So it's like you get everything with that movie.
Yeah.
And then I really love Hard Boiled because it's just like maybe the most over the top he gets with the gun action stuff. I remember there's a scene in that movie where like the guys are like, you know, have to like are like running sideways in a hallway trying to shoot at each other, jumping through stained glass windows multiple times. So, um, and then there's just like the crazy amount of guns in that movie and action and all that stuff. And so actually, like when he came to America after Hard Boiled, these movies are actually pretty tame compared to Hard Boiled, um, but yeah, had Hard Target. He did this, and then he did Face Off,
Yeah.
which that was pretty big, and then that like intersects with um, Nicolas Cage action trilogy of The Rock, Face Off, and Con Air, which these are like the '90s action movies, pretty much. So.
Yes, and you can tell too. This is the violent '90s.
Yeah. um, And then after this, he did Mission Impossible 2. Or no, after Face Off, did Mission Impossible 2, which I absolutely hate. But that movie made a ton of money. So, but then somewhere he did Payback, and that ruined his entire career. And now he's just back making movies in China for like the last 15 years or so. So,
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah.
I heard good things about the Red Cliff movies, which I never saw. Um, and then I think he came back and did. Like I know they did that Silent Night movie, which I didn't realize was him. Which that's the one where the guy like loses his voice and he like has to kill people on Christmas. Which is very much a John Woo thing. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
losing his sense and then having to like people have to die. um, and then I think they did like a TV like series version of The Killer, which I don't know. I haven't heard about. I just know it exists, and I don't know if he's involved or not. I think he is, but like I don't know if it's a producer or he directed some things on it. But yeah, I'm a big fan of John Woo movies.
Yeah.
I bought Better Tomorrow for like $25 on VHS in like 1999. Like I bought it and saw it at like a Suncoast Video like 3 months before it disappeared.
Yeah. You're one of the last customers.
And then I don't think what did I? No. I know they had Criterion versions of The Killer and Hard Boiled, but I never got those. That's what they were out of print at that time. Because the only out of print ones I got, which I think they're back in print now, was The Silence of the Lambs and RoboCop.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if RoboCop is back in print, but I think Silence of the Lambs is.
I believe it because I have that.
Yeah.
I bought a newer version of that. So.
Okay. Yeah, and they also did like The Rock and Armageddon Criterion Collection, which came up again because they had because have you ever seen the Criterion Closet thing that they
No.
do?
Uh-uh.
Oh, they just have like celebrities come in and there's like a closet just full of Criterion movies, and they come in and just grab what they want and they talk about it as they're grabbing movies off the shelf for them to keep for themselves. Presumably, I don't know so why do celebrities need to have free shit, but whatever. And so they had Ben Affleck in there because he has this new accountant movie came out, and so he pulls out the Armageddon DVD and he says like, this might be some of my finest work I've ever done, not for the acting but for the commentary, because we often talk about the commentary he did for Armageddon, where he's just basically making fun of the movie. Like what's so hard? Point the drill at the ground and hit go. And I guess he says that that's one of the things that get brought up the most when people are just yelling at him in the street is on the Armageddon commentary. So,
Hmm.
um, um, cinematographer is Peter Levy, who did what else did he do? Predator 2. Good bad movie.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of TV lately. I'm not sure.
He's an Australian guy. So.
Okay, that makes sense. We have a lot of Australian cinematographers.
Oh yeah, like I said, in the 70s and 80s, they started funding their colleges to
Yeah.
what they say they wanted to make film directors and producers that were like trained like nuclear submarine captains. They wanted to take over film. And they also do all those tax credits and everything there too. So
Okay, so he did Nightmare on Elm Street, The Dream Child. I'm not sure if that's a good one or not. I think it's Dream Warriors is the good one. I can't remember.
yeah, I'm not sure.
Judgment Night. Do you remember that one?
Is that where they break into the house to steal money?
No, but I know what movie you're talking about.
Like they're firemen after money?
Yeah, that's a. I don't know. It has a vaguely similar feel to that movie, but it's not that movie. This is the one where it's like the guys go to like a Boston Celtic game and get lost in the city, and they get chased around by like.
Was this one with the really young Steven Dorff and Emilio Estevez and Cuba Gooding?
Maybe, but
Yeah, let me look it up.
But the thing about it is, it seems like it's like they'd be chased around by inner city people at night, and really they're getting chased around by Dennis Leary.
That's it. Yep, that's the one. Okay.
I remember it not being good, but
and the drug dealers are trying to kill him.
Yeah,
by destroying Boston.
yeah.
It's gonna clearly having running gun battles in the street like that's not going to attract any attention.
He did a cinematographer Blown Away, which has one of the most amazing explosion scenes in that movie. So I remember really liking that movie. I remember people say it's really stupid though, but
is that the one where Tommy Lee Jones plays like an Irish guy? Okay.
Which I don't remember that at all. I don't even remember Tommy Lee Jones being in that movie. So I just remember Jeff Bridges and explosions. So
it's like, yeah, he did that not long. It was that after or before. What's the one where he's the college professor and the neighbors are like?
Oh, Arlington Road. That was before Arlington Road.
Okay, same kind of acting though.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Cutthroat Island.
Yes,
yeah, that's a big money.
Which hey, if you're not the director, that's not the end of your career. But no, I don't know. Ridney Harlan's got to keep directing stuff. So
yeah.
But after that, he did a lot of bad movies, and then seems like he's settled into the TV land. So it's good work if you can get it.
1998's Lost in Space. Everyone hates, but is actually an amazing looking movie.
I just remember not liking it, so I've never gone back to it.
What's his name?
Well, Gary Oldman's good and everything, so
yeah, Gary Oldman kind of carries it as Dr. Smith. But it looks great. It looks like a $200 million movie, but
yeah,
the acting and not in the acting, everyone in it can act, but like the script sucked. The story was terrible.
I can't remember, but I just remember I don't know when they were close to each other, but I remember like I got to like immediately compare Lost in Space to Blade, and it's like, yeah, that movie sucks because Blade is fucking awesome.
Right on top of each other. 99 and this was 98, so yeah. Not this, but Lost in Space.
Yeah. And then, I guess I should say when it came out, February 9th, 1996. So probably not a lot of hope for this movie, being it's that close to. I don't know. February's weird. February can release some hits sometimes. Usually January's the death knell, so you never know what February means. So
It had something to do with the special effects not being done. They pushed it back.
okay,
It wasn't like they didn't believe in the movie. As a matter of fact, they thought it would like fill a hole, kind of a dead space. It's like, yeah, this is actually pretty good. But yeah, it had something to do with the special effects not being
okay.
done. Something that's
I
what
mean, they don't look great anyways, but they're fine.
it's a $50 million movie where the leads,
I mean, the practical effects are good, but like anytime they have the planes out, it's like this looks like the B tier, like
yeah,
the of not even Industrial Light and Magic. That's just like some B tier team did it. It's not too bad, but
where the lead and the two leads. It was a $50 million movie. The two leads got almost $12 million just to be in it.
yeah.
So then it's a $40 million mess. And then you want to do like constant action and then a few like big scale things, and it's like, oh yeah, you're eating through your budget. And didn't have a great, because it actually has the advertising budget here. They spent like 15 million promoting it, which is low
yeah.
for that kind of money. But they did make its money back, even though it got some pretty bad reviews.
Yeah, again, like not only did it play, yeah, it played a lot on television too, so they had to have made their money.
Oh yeah, they did. They made their money. They're loath to admit a movie that I think, what does it come in at? Let me do the breakdown. Yeah, it's basically like a 50%, 50 average 56, 54% positive reviews.
Okay.
So it's definitely not like it's rotten. Not and even the audience reviews are like not, they're like 60. So it doesn't even have that audience love, but for some reason everyone's seen it and they know something.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it did what it was supposed to.
Written by Graham Yost, who's kind of famous for writing these kinds of movies, most notably Speed, which was a very good, smart, dumb movie.
Yes.
It's like great premise, stupid things happen, but clever things happen too. So, yeah. So he did that. This Hard Rain, which is something we need to look at sometime because I remember like that's also an awesome premise, but I remember it was just kind of. It's also stupid. So, but I mean, that's Jan de Bont, so it's kind of this. That's what you're gonna get with that.
Well, again, it's like Hard Rain is like great actors, because you have Morgan Freeman, Christian Slater, pre-lunatic Randy Quaid, Driver, Richard Dysart, Ed Asner, and Betty White, and they, well, because you hire then as now Morgan Freeman. It's like, hey, we got some real chunky dialogue here that doesn't quite work, and it's like, I'll make it cool, because he has the one guy like quote from the Bible, and he's like, "Thank you, Amen," and then we're gonna shoot a bunch of people. It's like, oh, okay, interesting.
Which then he went on to be like more of a TV guy, like a TV producer, which he's done some, he did the Justified series. He's doing the Silo series right now, which I need to catch up on because I really liked the first season. I've completely missed the second season. So.
Yeah, there's so many things I need to do, but I feel like I'm just running all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy basically got greenlit for this because it's like, oh, the guy who did Speed, yeah, whatever, we'll buy it.
Yeah.
It immediately happened.
And the cast is John Travolta, Christian Slater, and Samantha Mathis. John Travolta on his upswing from Pulp Fiction in '94, so he's being cast on a lot of things at this time. So this was him, being proven to be kind of a box office, something you could trust.
Mathis was somebody I recognized because she did Pump Up the Volume. Was the princess in the ill-fated 1993 Super Mario.
Yeah, that's how I know her from. So.
And then The Thing Called Love, which was a big 90s movie.
Oh, okay.
She was a song performer trying to make it in Nashville, and her last name was Presley, and that's like, well, that's a little on the nose. She showed up for that's kind of where, and then Broken Arrow, and then I sort of I know she was an American Psycho, but she was one of like the 20 people that kind of
Yeah,
passed.
yeah.
And
She's still working, but she.
yeah, I've kind of lost. I know she was in the Clove Hitch Killers.
I know
Uh,
she has like a recurring role in like that show Billions, which I've never seen, but.
yeah, okay. Didn't know. I just know. I
Oh.
remember when I saw her in the Clove Hitch Killer, and she showed up. It's like, yeah, I remember her.
Well,
I
she's
think
a.
close to my age. So,
Yeah, I think she's like 52 or something like that.
and she was vice president of the SAG for a while. Took a break from acting to be the SAG president, vice president. I don't know, something
Yeah,
like
so yeah.
that. I respect
It's,
anyone that takes a leadership position in a union
yeah.
because unions, but God, do those jobs suck to try to represent people sometimes. It's like, you're killing me here. You're not helping me. I want to make this better for everyone, and you're the reason why.
I heard a weird thing today.
Mm.
So our job, we have different aspects of people have different parts have unions, other parts don't.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a part that's union. Their union is on strike. They're not because they have a no strike clause.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. Yep.
I was like, oh, well, how does that work? Which I guess it says like, if the strike, is undone and like whatever things they get, they have to match or whatever, but they
Yes.
just don't strike.
Yeah. The thing is, I forget how that. You get a lot of like back end off of those deals because that's like Japanese trade unions do that a lot. It's like, because I know it's like, oh, the auto workers are on strike in Japan. It's like, really? Well, they're still working, but if they agree to work in what they call negotiate in faith, that the company will, you can generally get a better deal from the company because you're not just locking them out and shutting them down. But that might work in Japan because there's kind of like a culture there that like uh, we at least pretend to tack towards harmony. Whether we achieve it or not, I don't know. That's a Japanese thing, but yeah, the no strike clause. They tried to give us one of those like 10 years ago. They're like, hey, if you guys vote for this no strike clause, we'll give you $1,000. It's yeah, okay. No, that's not how this works. We don't do that here. This is in Japan or Korea. We don't believe in harmony. And, matter of fact, we're the opposite of
We
harmony.
believe in the advantage
Yeah.
and taking it at all cost.
But yeah, I've heard of that style. That's that's uh that's unusual.
But
You're also like technical services stuff too. So
yeah, and like working in hospitals and stuff like that. So I bet there's something. But it's like I don't know. But it's like yeah, they're not on strike, but like their their brothers are or whatever. So, um. So yeah, I guess we'll get into the movie. Act 1. We got overhead shot coming down on a lit boxing ring, which is kind of I'm not sure
it's
if the meaning here.
don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's just a square that's like postage stamp size, and then it moves towards you.
Yeah, and there's nothing beyond the square. It's just a
No.
void beyond the white square and the
Yeah.
two guys in the ring.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if it's just John Woo. It's like, let's try some stuff. Or if this has like deep meaning.
I don't know. I just liked it. I thought it was kind of
Yeah,
cool.
no, it's different. Well, I was wondering if like did like it seems like something Scorsese would do, and maybe that because that's boxing, and he has one boxing movie that I've never actually watched all the way through. So, but it's in black and white, and here this almost looks like black and white.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things with this movie, it had that Hans Zimmer's like swelling score.
Oh yeah, I love this.
But in some places it was low key, and I think so. This was a way to introduce like the movie, get the credits out of the way,
Yeah.
and establish your two main characters immediately in a way that allows the music to play out and the credits to play out. But
Oh
it's
yeah,
also,
because the music here is more boisterous. The thing I
yes,
really love is the low key kind of like Twin Peaks Western, like dun dun
yes,
dun dun.
which they used in
Is that the first? Yeah, is that in other movies? It has
they
to
used
be.
in
It's so
Scream 2.
recognizable. Okay, all right.
Originally, it was filler music while they were coming up with another soundtrack, and they
Okay.
liked it so much they just like, yeah, let's just use that.
It's so great. I don't know, I just need that like in my life. So
Yeah, it's like you need to walk around and hear that.
I need to smoke with like one pinky slightly this way, like I'm dancing with a cigarette. Dun, 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 dun.
I need to smoke like a guy who, from a former smoker, is like to me obviously never actually smoked. He's just like he just sucks it all in and blows it all out. And he's like, he's doing this stuff and he's
Yeah,
doing
it's
weird.
the hand stuff. It's like he's dancing
Yeah,
with his hands in a cigarette. I mean, he has so many great smoking scenes, I guess, in movies. So,
yeah, oh yeah.
well, I
I
mean,
don't
like
think
the
he actually smokes though.
no, but like the way he smokes is so like weird and interesting. It's like he's making out with the cigarette.
He's loving it.
Because he kind of like almost like kisses his lips with his two fingers as he smokes, and then his like thumb and pinky are doing all this weird stuff.
Yeah,
Because he did stuff like that in Pulp Fiction too. So
yeah. He was a good low key weirdo in Pulp Fiction. He acted a lot with his eyes and face.
yeah.
I mean, that movie saved so many careers.
um. So yeah, we get the overhead shot, and it's just like coming down on the ring, and like only the boxing ring is lit. But we do kind of like come down to the boxing match. We see it's just like some sort of gym, or some just some sort of air. We just put a boxing ring in an air. What do you call those? Like things that hold the airplanes. Um,
Uh,
why can't I think of where you park an airplane?
a hanger.
Yeah, airplane hangar.
I was thinking gantry crane for some reason.
Yeah.
You don't store an airplane in a gantry crane.
We get these intercuts of punches, and we get the titles "Broken Arrow," which is like very energetic, like um, music coming here. Which is like a great title for a movie, and like a great title for the concept, but it's not actually the concept because was it "Empty Quiver" is the actual. So yeah, but "Broken Arrow" sounds cooler. And I guess Broken Arrow is also like was that like a John Wayne western as well or something like that.
It's something like that. Yeah, it sounds a lot cooler than because what is it called? Because a broken arrow is when like the nuke is like disabled or something.
Isn't it if it's dropped and it doesn't go off?
Yeah, something like that. It's like it's disabled or it malfunctioned.
Yeah.
My favorite is Fated Giant, which is what you call the second stage of a nuclear exchange. It's like countries are essentially destroyed, but now we're going to start part two. We've gone through counterforce. Now we're getting into counter value, where it's like Moscow for New York stuff. That's called Fated Giant. It's like, no, that's appropriate.
But yeah,
That's
this is.
a whole giant weird book of codes.
But it's still like the '90s were still this weird era of like, nuclear weapons. It's a threat because now the Soviet Union's gone. Just anybody can get nuclear weapons.
Everyone has them, and they're going to
It's-
all use them
yeah,
on us.
and it's even a line in this movie.
Yeah.
So- which I don't. I'm sure there's tons of things for this movie I took forward as complete fact about how like nuclear weapons work and stuff like and EMPs and so, and I mean kind of I don't know how it represents EMPs is kind of correct. I don't know. So, but I don't think the
Someone who was steeped in the Cold War and read everything he could, factual, stupid, and or otherwise about it. It's actually hard to find a lot of information about how modern nuclear weapons
Yeah.
work, what they do and don't do, because they don't talk about it.
yeah.
You're kind of left to guess.
Well, I'm just thinking that the military equipment that gets hit by the EMP here was built to be shielded by for
Yeah.
nuclear weapons, and it's not. It's like okay, wow.
Well, my understanding of how an EMP works is it saturates the ionosphere with high impulse energy that then hits the earth like kind of in an umbrella. But if it goes off like on or near or under the ground, there is literally you're shielded from that.
Okay.
There's no upper electromagnetic atmosphere to ionize.
Okay.
Because the real way that, like, as I understand, again, this is all secret, so I'm just like reading stuff. But the real devastating ones, there's a documentary on YouTube called Rainbow Warriors. Because once we figured out what EMP was, we specifically designed nuclear weapons to go off outside the atmosphere that that the Soviet power system, because your biggest conduit for EMP is power lines, because
Yeah.
they're just giant antennas. And we designed nuclear weapons to absolutely just hyper energize and destroy their power grid. So, because now how they show them in movies is like all electronics are fried or whatever, and it's like no, it's just mainly the giant power lines that just act as a receiver for high energy, and then it comes into your house and destroys everything. But we don't even know. They don't even know if that works anymore with like new electronics. So it might shut it off and then it'll turn it back on. So
Yeah.
nobody knows. They don't talk about it because they don't want you to
Yeah.
know.
It's expensive. Keep
Yeah.
it quiet.
Yep.
We'll keep giving you money if you just shut up.
Yeah. About it. Make some more noise, see what happens.
It's Shut the Fuck Up Friday. Take your money and run.
Yeah.
We have the reveal of our leads. Vic Deakins, played by John Travolta, and Riley Hale, played by Christian Slater, which I always really like Christian Slater. I know people kind of reduce him down to he's just doing Jack Nicholson poorly or as a humor. Or
Yeah.
not.
No, I've always enjoyed his performances.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, he's not okay. I get it. You're not getting like like an Al Pacino at his apex or something.
Yeah.
But he always plays the same guy, and you always like him.
Yes.
That's the thing. It's like I want him to win.
He's your sardonic surrogate. So.
Yeah.
And he's not that intimidating, and he's fun and witty. So So yeah, they're boxing. Hale is getting his ass beat because he's probably like 50 pounds lighter than John Travolta. So.
Yeah, there's a few reasons.
I do like the thing, like, Deakins is teaching him boxing techniques and strategy, and this is just all like their chess matches throughout the whole movie about like,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know, it's a weird. It's supposed to be like Deakins is like having this teaching moment, but like I don't know if that works against him because he's like revealing all his secrets or something like that. But not really. The Deakins character is not that deep, so
He's kind of cool, and he's definitely he thinks he's smarter than he is.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in the end. But he never gives up on that belief. He has a tremendous amount of self. It's like I'm clearly losing, but I'm winning because it's me. I'm going to figure this out.
Hale has a little thing here where it kind of seems clever. He says like, I was always partial to Bruce Lee movies, and he like fakes like he's gonna kick him, and then he punches him in the face, and but that just pisses off Deakins, and then just beats the shit out of him even more. And then he like knocks him to the ground. And then Hale refuses a helping hand. Then we cut to he's like in the locker room, and Hale looks over himself in the mirror, like rubbing his like sensitive jaw, but like he largely looks completely unhurt for the beating he just took. So
this is the logic of this movie. It's like, yeah, after we're done here, we're gonna go fly a tube with nuclear weapons in it. Let's beat the shit out of each other. We jump in that, but it's like you're along for the ride here. It's not hard to make fun of this movie,
Yeah.
but it's like you're looking way too far into it if you are, because it's
Yeah.
like, no, this was entertainment.
And again, like I don't know if like maybe this is like the movies that John Woo chooses or they're chosen for him, where it's like it's stupid. You can turn this into Lemonade, can't you? Because like it seems like Graham Yost is seen as a smart writer, and a lot of this movie is stupid, but there is great lines and great moments. So, and I don't know who to like attribute that to. Is that who's making it dumb, John Woo or Yost? Or is this, and who's making it great, John Woo or Yost? Or is it they just like 50-50 in different directions and you get both of it?
Well, none of the American John Woo movies does he have a writing credit on.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Hong Kong movies he has a write-it credit on. Now, I don't know if that system works the same as ours.
No.
Or if he just got like, well, he's the director, so of course he wrote it.
Yeah.
But so I think that's part of it, which could be there could be a language thing there. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But he knows how to tell a story like in pictures.
Yes.
And I guess him and John Travolta became really good friends making. One of the reasons Face Off got made was because he really thought John Travolta was cool. Because he would like listen to him and it's like, how about if we do this? How about if we do that? But not in a way
Oh,
like,
I thought it was just he just letting John Travolta do his thing. I didn't know he was
no,
like
it
being actively the director.
brought some, because he was supposed to play the Christian Slater character originally,
Okay.
and they were going to have someone else play Deke, and he Travolta's like, I'd like to be the bad guy, and John Woo was like, okay, why? And he laid out a good case, and he's like, I think he should have these things. Of course, John Woo's like, yeah, this is John Travolta, sure, but he liked the collaboration. He's like, well, you made this a lot better, clearly, so I like this, and then it's like, I can't wait to do another movie with John Travolta. He's so cool to work with. He's not an asshole, so it's like, oh yeah,
Huh. Okay.
he has good ideas.
It works for this movie because John Travolta is actually a pilot. So.
And he knows what he's doing.
um.
Isn't he the guy that had like a house where you could land like commercial
Yeah.
aircraft?
Yeah. He had like a 737 or some shit.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, he bought something off the Australian National Airline.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's nuts.
Yeah, because he's played like a pilot in a lot of movies. Because like that's his character in like the Look Who's Talking Now. He like plays a pilot in those movies.
I think you're right.
And then
I remember as a heroin addict who read Camus in Pulp Fiction. Was his name Vic Vega or something?
yeah.
One of those impossible names. Like nobody actually has those names, but great heroin addict, assassin, heroin addict, hitman, or whatever. I think he was reading Camus. I'm not sure he was reading it. I remember I looked it up once. I was like, that's hilarious.
yeah. It's like a super inside joke. Yeah.
Doesn't seem like he would be that deep, but okay.
Let's see. And then we see Deacon's like slowly pulls up the zipper on his flight suit and smokes with the flourished hands, and this is where he's like pinky and thumb out, kissing his fingers and smoking. A lot of sexual energy being put out there for like a movie without sex. So.
Yeah.
But it's a rated R movie, so.
Yeah, it's actually pretty violent. It's not like grotesque violence, but
No.
it's really violent.
Yeah.
There's a few deaths here that's like, that's kind of grisly.
You get some like gnarly squibs going on, but like every time you see somebody looks like their chest or arm exploded, when you cut back to them, it just seems like their coat is slightly fringed with a hole in it. So it's like these aren't really matching like the violence of the initial action, but it's fine.
Yeah.
We don't get squibs like this anymore, so it's a lost art. Because you can just redo the scene over and over again and put it in post, and and everybody will know, but apparently nobody will care. So,
Didn't John Wick bring back the squibs for some of the scenes?
I think so, but I mean, like the first John Wick movie, like a lot of it was just, it was like digital squibs.
Yeah.
The thing they did like different is they used real guns that had like basically like a plug, like screwed into like the middle of the tube.
Yeah.
Or the barrel, and so it was cycling. So it was really cycling, and it was using blanks, but there's nothing coming out the end of the tube. So it was inherently safe. It was real weapons. It was real, like you could see like the hair blow back when someone fires a gun or whatever. And then they just matched the flashes, and then did the digital squibs. And then I think for the later movies they had a combination of it as the budget got bigger. Yeah. Because like John Wick is like an $8 million movie, and then John Wick 2 is like an $80 million movie. So
I watched that documentary they did about it, called John Wick is Pain.
Okay.
How the people that made the movie, like, they were in the middle of divorces, and they were
okay
while they were making it, and Keanu Reeves was just like, yeah, cool guys. Well, it's just like everyone wanted to, like, man, we got the guy from the Matrix. We can't fuck this up. Be cool, guys. We're gonna figure this out.
Which is funny because they were the guys from the Matrix.
Yeah.
Because he was like the stunt double for Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. They just behind it.
Yeah.
and they were
Well,
like,
yeah, it's like Keanu Reeves' like weird fourth act of his career. Because remember, like Speed was like a comeback for him. It's
yeah,
like,
oh yeah,
oh, this is the Bill and Ted guy. He went and did some like artsy shit that went nowhere, and now he's in an action movie, and then like and then he disappeared again, and then um Matrix was his his third comeback, and then he kind of disappears again, and then it's like
after the Matrix, he did weird shit too.
yeah
I'm gonna do movies with $80,000 budgets. Like, okay, you know,
yeah. Yeah, there's that weird one where he's like, I'm not sure if that's like a movie or like it's like a anthology. There's a thing where like these two women like have sex with him and then bury him on a beach or
yeah,
something
there's
like that.
weird stuff. It's all shot in like weird lights, and it's like they were shooting like in green and blue lights. And I remember like, what is this?
And then he did like what, like 47 Ronin. He did a bunch of like weird like overseas movies where it's
Yeah.
like I just want to check that out, see what's going on.
Then he has motorcycles. He really loves motorcycles.
Yeah,
Has some amazing motorcycles too.
yeah, and then it's basically like gives away almost all of his money to like
Yeah.
charity.
Well, I didn't realize some of the sad stuff that went on in his
Oh
life.
yeah, he has a tremendous
This guy's
sad
like,
story.
wow, this guy has a smile on his face ever.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um.
but yeah, it wasn't in this movie though.
No. Did John Woo ever? No. I guess John's the only thing in common. I was like, did John Woo ever do anything with Keanu Reeves? But I don't. I don't think that happened.
No.
Nope. Just Ben Affleck killed his career. I don't know. I don't remember liking Paycheck. I remember I was like, that's a cool idea, and then this became really stupid. So,
I think we went as a family here and saw it in the theater.
oh, okay.
It didn't talk about it. Like, it's $50 we're not getting back.
um, let's see. Deacon slowly pulls up his flight suit. Hale gives Deacon money for losing the fight. And then he's like, "No, I can't take it. If if you didn't give it your all, I don't deserve it." And he's like, "No, you don't understand. I stole this money from you while you're in the shower. This is your toy." So,
Well, there was some weird back and forth about, yeah, you got to have the will to win. You know why you didn't win, and and Hale was like, because you've been doing this for like 20 years long. You know how to do it.
It's not a good straightforward dialogue where it's almost like the movie's making fun of itself.
Yeah. What I like about it. It's like I don't know if this is an inside joke, but I like it.
Hale and Deacons report to a general. Of course, he's an asshole because that's how generals are in movies. So.
Yeah, some of the smartest people in the world are always in movies. They're either dumb or they're assholes. And these guys are actually like mostly geniuses.
Yeah.
That's an elimination system to get to the top of that. Not everyone gets to be a general, but yeah, I always like that.
I do like when he walks. I do like it when he walks in. The general's like, were you promoted over me? He's like, no. He's like, why are you smoking in my room, like report room or whatever? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. He just like puts it out with his fingers and acts like it wasn't painful at all, and just like holds it up. So so yeah, they're doing a test flight on a stealth bomber, which is this supposed to be an experimental B-3? Like this bomber doesn't exist, right? This is just something made up for the movie.
I thought it was a B2. It was actually the B2, but they wanted to carry the biggest warheads we have to see if there was some kind of like leak from the weapon.
Yeah, they want to see if they fly low, can radiation be detected or whatever, or something like that. So
yeah, so that's why they put these at the time were the biggest. Those are actual warheads.
Oh, okay.
They're variable yield. They're the biggest ones in our inventory now. They have a yield of between 20 kilograms and 1.2, or I'm sorry, 20 kilotons and 1.2 megatons, depending on how you set the bomb. And the reason they were done that way is because when they introduced these in the 70s, I think, we didn't have the comprehensive test ban treaty. We had what was called the limited threshold test ban treaty, which basically meant you couldn't do czar bombs anymore.
Yeah.
So these were designed with variable yields because these replaced our monster B-53 and what was the other one? The B-42. We had one that could went up to like 25 megatons. It was the only three-stage nuke we ever built. And we got rid of that in like the 70s. And then this is now our biggest one. It's not in service anymore, but it's what we call in our enduring stockpile. And we have 800 of them. And these are drop bombs for planes.
Yeah.
These aren't warheads that go on missiles. These are just dropped with parachutes, and you can set the yield as high and low as you want to. These were also being considered to be used for bunker busting, which is what they called nuclear enhanced demolition munitions. So, but now they're kind of the only plane that can carry them is the B-2, and they're not on active frontline service anymore. If anyone was interested in that.
But I think that, well, see, I always thought this was a B-2 bomber, but I think they call it a B-3 here, so I think it's implied it's a different plane. Because even if you look at the cover, it's like they have the plane around. It's like, looks just like a B-2. But then they have like the stealth mode, and then I don't understand that because like that's not how that works, right?
I think the only, I mean, again, this is all like secret Cold War stuff.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
I think when they say turn off the stealth, I think what those actually do in real life is they just have a transponder that transmits like I'm in the air, and turning on stealth means you turn the transponder off.
Okay.
Which, as we learned from 9/11, you can do on commercial aircraft too if you just turn the transponder off. Well, we see the plane, but we don't know who's on it. And it's like, I think it's a similar feature. Who knows? At $2 billion a crack for 70s and 80s tech, they better be able to flip a switch and it disappears like the right, because these things were monstrously expensive.
Yeah.
They only built 21 of them, and they've since crashed or destroyed 2. For each one that goes down represents $1 billion in straight up state capital and almost $3 billion in maintenance and upgrades. So every time you hear about a B-2 getting smoked, it's like, well, that's a lot of money. And remember, it's 80s technology. It's been around a long time.
And what was the purpose of was it the other one? What is it?
The Nighthawk, the 117, the Wobbling Goblin. It was just a small, it was like basically a ground attack fighter.
Okay.
That you could take smaller munitions in, because it wasn't like an air superiority fighter. It was more like what do they call those?
It's like more like a precision strike thing, right?
Yeah, it was kind of like an Aardvark or a Wild Weasel. Like it was designed to take out radar sites, SAM sites, stuff like that. I guess it worked. I don't know. I mean, it kind of disappeared quickly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So again, I don't know. Also, but it wasn't as wasn't as expensive, but also didn't seem to be used. But again, that's the point of it. So.
Well, we never fought World War III's. Yeah. Not yet. Not yet. Stay tuned. But yeah.
Then we cut to night. There's a night flight with the stealth bomber, which some of these effects look okay. They look better because they're at night. There's a bit where you see the starfield, and you can kind of see. I don't know if it's like the version I got, maybe having better screens, but you could clearly see like, oh yeah, that's a matte painting of a plane there. So, but here they have like the stealth bomber going at night, and they kind of have like the almost like the vapor trails coming off of it that looks kind of like, oh, that doesn't look too bad for 96. So
yeah,
but I think most of this is just like models and stuff like that, and then with some CGI enhancements. We got a park ranger shows up to talk to some campers and then just shoots them dead, and then the camper falls in the fire, like almost like it's a pratfall or something like that. So
and just continues to burn, and the guy walks away. This is why this movie got an R rating, is stuff like that. Scenes like that where it's like, it's not like visceral, but it's like, it's horrifying.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they shoot the guy, have him fall in a fire, but then you see like the lady in the tent just gets brained, and then that's like, you're spared that. You just see the blood spray.
Yeah.
The blood spray going in the opposite direction of the bullet.
Which is always weird. He's using a concaving round. It's like, huh?
A few Humvees pull up. We get Pritchett, played by Bob Gunton, who we've seen him in a lot of things, but most notably he's the
everything.
he's the warden in Shawshank Redemption. That's probably what you most know him from.
Just turned 80 this year.
um, he admonishes the killer and tells him to like to pull the body out of the fire because they're gonna be smelling that all night. So
Yeah, you thought initially he was like, "That's terrible," but it's like, I don't want to smell a burning corpse all night.
his role is weird, but whatever. He just bitches the entire time until he dies. So.
Yeah.
But when you think of an executive, think of this guy.
Yeah.
It's-
There's a reason he was in this movie playing the role this way. This was designed. It's a very satisfying death scene that everyone kind of like thinks about later. It's like, I can see myself in the role in that scene.
Then we cut to it's like Colonel Wilkins, played by Delroy Lindo, who you've seen him in a tons of
I love
things.
Roy Lindo, he's cool.
I don't know if there's like a role I could like tell you he's in. You've just seen him in lots of things.
Yeah, he's a very specific look to him. I think he's very tall.
Yeah.
Originally from the UK.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. His parents were Jamaican immigrants there. I think he moved here like a long while back. I'm not sure.
But yeah, he plays a lot of like he's like a character actor essentially. So he's played a lot of bit roles.
He's one of those guys. He always plays like the smart guy, but also the guy who's going to be like, "Hey, would you shut the hell up?" You know, he's both those roles. It's like, I know what's going on here. You need to stop talking. The way he delivers dialogue, it's engaging too. Because he looks at people and kind of smiles, and he's like, "Would you shut up?" Oh, that's disarming. I wasn't expecting that.
I'm trying to find like a role that I mean, we did watch The Five Bloods. He's in that.
He was the inventor of unobtainium in the core.
Okay, all right, that's what I thought it was. So
I liked him he was the opposite of Jet Li in The One. He was one of the cops.
Okay.
Or whatever. There's some other Delroy Lindo roles. You've seen this guy a bunch.
Yeah. You'll see him. You'll recognize his voice. He has a very good deep voice.
Yeah, and I think he's like 6'7" or something.
Yeah.
He seems to be way taller than anyone else on screen.
But he also has just like kind of like an interesting cadence to how he does things. Like it's like he doesn't just talk. It's like almost kind of like a song or some way. I don't know how to describe it, but
yeah, he does that. You know who he is. He does have kind of a sing-songy like, and he uses hard pauses a lot. He's like, once you find out he's like, oh, he's a British trained actor. It's like, okay, absolutely, because he's doing the full thing. He's doing the eyes, the head, the dialogue. It's like, okay, he's got this.
He's talking to the pilots from some command center. Because like, what's this movie like? End up in Utah?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
The only one I know, the only scene I know that's jarring is the scene at the end because it's shot in Montana, and it's like, oh, the desert went away. It's something that once you know it, you can't unknow it.
Oh,
so.
okay.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
They are heading to Colorado, which there is some green there. So
yeah, that could be.
They turn on stealth mode and they just disappear off radar. One of the texts says
also the engines change pitch.
Okay, yeah.
They go from loud whiny to like nothing. It's like engage the magnetic drive. You know? It's very Hunt for Red October.
But one of the techs still sees them like their heat signature on satellite or something like that. So they're still tracking them. But then they take the bomber to fly at low level, and then I guess that like cools it off or something like that. And then they can't see them. So.
Well, that was the theory behind the original supersonic B-1 bomber. Was not the reason that ran into such massive cost overruns is like, we want a supersonic bomber with a large nuclear weapons capacity. It's like, okay, but we want to fly at treetop level. Like, what? No way to interdict Soviet airspace? Because if you flew up high, they just shoot it down with their missiles. They're really good at that. But if you fly along the ground at like Mach 1, it's like their radars are not going to be able to respond to that. But it's like you have to engineer, and you have to use 60s and 70s technology to make this happen. So it's like, oh, this is why this program was canceled 3 times. It's like they can't do that. Now they can do it. Now they work because they have that weird
Well, now they'll
night.
just build a missile to do it. It's
Well,
like, why build a plane when you can build a missile?
oh, there was always what was the thing about bombers? Like bombers were kind of built into nuclear war as well. Yeah, like we can get a missile there at Mach 17, but the bombers are supposed to like. It's like they're going to deliver the destruction, but it's going to give a delay so we don't. Because if everything was just silo based, you just turn the keys and all the missiles fly.
Yeah.
There's no like leadership conference or anything. With bombers, you get lead. That's why I went to all submarines because that too has a delay. It has both options. It can do sudden launch or delay because it's a moving target that you can't find. But yeah, that was the original purpose of bombers was to slow down things before we like unleash 10,000 tons. Um,
Then we get Ranger Terry, played by Samantha Mathis. She gets a call about like Humvees and a Ranger truck, but she's the only truck out there. So it's like, hey, go look at that. Quebec Command loses their heat signature when they go low. Deacons ask Hale if he's a lifer, and then Hale gets asked back, and like he says no.
yeah, 'cause Hale's trying to get on the Aurora project.
Yeah.
Because remember, he has the magazine in his locker that talks about
right.
the project, and then he was talking to Deacon about, yeah, I talked to your buddy about Aurora, but he said it's probably not going to happen, because that was the famous like successor to the stealth fighter or stealth mini stealth bomber that either did or didn't happen. I don't.
Yeah, because he said that he doesn't have enough like combat experience or something like that to be in the program. So, and then Deacon distracts Hale. It's like, hey, there's something over there, and then he sees his reflection in the window as he pulls out a Beretta to try to shoot him, and then they have sort of a flight seat boxing match.
Which seems insane in an aircraft cockpit. It's like we're gonna start fighting.
Also, the bomber just keeps almost hitting stuff, so that's another tense part of the scene. I guess it's lucky that the military uses Berettas because that's like John Woo's favorite gun to put in a movie. So nobody makes a Beretta look better than John Woo. So
no, you actually think they're great guns. I mean, I have one here, and it's like it's fine.
Yeah,
it's not great.
yeah. I don't hear great things about it, but it doesn't jam. It's heavy. I've never actually shot one, so I've only heard the people who had to do them in training with Berettas that had like 500,000 rounds through them. And it's like these are not fun to shoot. So.
The only problem with the Beretta of the '92 series, the Brigadier, which is the one that's the ubiquitous military, was the U.S. military's gun until quite recently, right?
Yep.
The only problem with those is they're double action, single action, which is nice. But the trigger pull is horror. You will never be on target that first round if you're going full double action because it's just too much trigger to pull.
Okay.
Once it goes into after the first round and the hammer's back and it's single action, it's actually got a lot of travel in it, but by the time you hit that trigger reset, it's like it's not horrible, but it's like when you have things like Glock and stuff out there, it's like you don't need this. This is like from the 70s type stuff, but it's a very well-made gun.
Yeah.
You can shoot 100,000 rounds through them.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I got picked because it was the only thing that shot that many rounds before failure. So.
Yeah. I have put probably 2,000 rounds through mine, and I've owned it for over 20 years. First handgun I bought.
So 100 rounds a year. So.
Yeah. I used it a lot initially, and then I moved on to other things.
Yeah.
I moved on to 1911s, and it's like, I really love this trigger. And then it's like you look at the replacement cost, so that's like, well, I'm not shooting this anymore. Now, because they cost $500, and they never fail. And if I lose it, well, it's just like, bad boy. I'm out $500. I'm not out $2,000.
Yeah.
I can't make this anymore. Like, oh no. You have to have homeowners insurance on this.
Let's see. Yeah,
chrome Berettas than this, which even gave even more away.
Oh yeah.
which I don't think the military used the chrome ones,
No,
but for
no.
some reason Deke had one because he's cool.
Well, yeah. I mean, like after this, like it's just like whatever this independent like special forces like mercenary group has. So because he ends up at the end of the movie he has like the 92F, like the
Yes.
fully automatic Beretta. It's like, well, that wasn't military issue, so. um, Terry gets buzzed by the bomber as it flies by. Cut
That
to
would
back.
be wild in real life. That would really freak you out.
Hale grabs the gun. Deacons pulls Hale's ejection seat, so he just flies out. I was like, well, that's one way to do that. Which I thought Hale was going to have this Beretta for the rest of the movie, but he must lose it at some point, so because he doesn't after this. So, Deacon drops the two nukes out of the plane, and then they kind of like parachute down, which I don't know if that's a thing or not, but it works here. So, maybe you don't want unexploded nuclear ordnance to just crash into the ground at that Mach speed.
Let's see. The B-83 is the B-83 is designed for multi-Mach deployment. It can be deployed in the middle at high speed or low speed.
Hmm.
So it is designed for that. Okay, interesting.
Oh, so
I have the fake specs up for this nuclear weapon that you can't.
oh, would they drop it to parachute it to explode?
It depends what they were doing. Yeah, mainly made for the
That would be wicked. That would be like a wicked tense moment in a movie where it's just a missile parachuting down. Like, what's that? And then nuclear explosion.
It was designed mainly for the B-1 to drop out of those bomb bays.
Yeah.
Because B-1s had those rotary launchers. Well, they all had them, but those were designed. You could either deploy them at Mach speeds or sub-Mach speeds, and they could be ground penetrating or they would just blow up in the air, whatever you set them to do.
Yeah.
They were fun. They were fun for all.
Because if you don't know, nukes are supposed to explode in the air.
They're not supposed to go into the ground
and then blow up. Yeah, like old school World War II bombers. No, these are supposed to. Well, I guess a nuke is still a World War II weapon. But yeah, if you blow them up in the air, then the blast wave will bounce back and then create double the force and all this fun math nonsense that was even more destruction going on. So.
Yeah, they never refer. War games kind of ruined that forever. They never refer to nuclear explosions as impacts. They're always detonations. Because if you hit the ground with them, number one, you're going to create a massive amount of fallout, like way more fallout than you generate, and you're going to lose a lot of destructive capabilities.
Yeah.
The only time the ground penetrating ones they had were for like hardened U.S. and Soviet deep bunkers. Like those were designed to go in the ground, but yeah. I would love to see that in action. Something hitting the ground at like Mach 15. It's like basement is around that.
Like yeah. The only good thing from those G.I. Joe's movies was like this really nasty thing where they have a satellite that just has a tungsten rod on it and it just drops it from space.
Yeah,
and just
the
uses
rod of God.
And just like pure speed and weight hitting the ground just basically does like annihilation destructive force of almost like a nuclear weapon, but with none of the explosion.
That was another Edward Teller idea. He must have been possessed by a demon. Edward Teller was some of the wildest shit.
How can we improve this? Like, oh Jesus, why are you improving this?
Well, it's like remember the Alistair Reynolds, like the foam phase munitions that they were using, because you got all the heat and blast effects of a nuclear bomb, but it was just what was it? It was hydrogen compressed to its smallest form and held with a magnetic field. It was because when you compress hydrogen down far enough, it looks like styrofoam. So they call it foam phase hydrogen. But there's a tremendous amount of energy being stored to do that, and that's why because they were doing that because they couldn't utilize antimatter for some reason. And it's like, that's weird. Did he come up with that? No, Edward Teller. It's like, oh my. But Edward Teller came up with a lot of wild stuff that's like not achievable with our material science, but it's like
Yeah.
this could work with math, and if we had this, that, or the other. But it's like, man, this guy was singing because he invented or helped and gave up, came up with the actual math to make the hydrogen bomb. It was like him and another guy. It was like, well, yeah, all this stuff he talks about. It's like it's Edward Teller. He made one thing happen. You thought the atom bomb was horrible. Just wait, it's worse.
Deacon hails back to the command center and says, Hale's lost it, and then ejects, and then the bomber crashes in the desert, which I'm
Yeah.
not sure if that was a part of the plan or if because the bomber was now compromised because it has a hole from the ejection seat. So, not sure about that. So,
Yeah, I don't know how that would work.
well, also they use the crash as a distraction, so maybe I don't know. There's a lot of things in this movie where it's like, is that happenstance? And they say like, no, it was done on purpose. And then it feels like, I don't think so.
I think Deacon's just saying that because it's an ego thing. It's like, I meant to do that. It's like, come on. I don't know how ejection seats work because I know when the guys bailed out on the MiG here at the air show last year because it was a 2-seater and the guy in the back thought they were going down and he just pulled his seat and the one up front went too. So I don't know if you can. I thought all ejection seats in planes were tandem. I didn't know
Yeah.
you could individually do one.
I mean, of course, this isn't like done for any.
I know.
I don't even know if a stealth bomber has an ejection seat. I mean, it must. Yeah, they do. So
They do. I mean, they go. They don't go this. They don't go over the speed of sound. But yeah, they probably have one. They might have the rocket assist ones because they're made for low flight.
Yeah.
They might have the one that boosts you up before the parachute goes off because sometimes they're flying so low if you hit the ejector, so you're just going to smash into the ground 500 miles an hour. So I think some of them had the rocket assist.
Yeah.
To get them up in the air so the parachute could actually work.
Yeah, I always had like I think it actually exists, but I always like you always think of the joke of like, oh yeah, like the ejection seat for a helicopter, and you're just like killing yourself doing it. But it's like, nah, you just blow the propellers off and then eject out, which I think is on some aircraft, but like. Yeah, I don't know. The helicopters seem like a precarious thing. There doesn't seem to be ejection seats there. Just like, man, you better crash this thing as best you can. You're probably dead anyway. So
Yeah, I cannot comprehend actual helicopters and like because I don't know anything about flying aircraft either, but I can comprehend.
yeah,
It's well, engine failure. It's like okay, we got a little ways to coast here.
yeah,
It's like a helicopter. It's like engine failure. It's just like dropping a rock. It's
yeah.
like well, we're just going straight down. I know they say you can do things to make the blades pitch around or whatever, but it's like
Yeah, there's always a thing they talk about called auto rotation, which I still like very like. What's that mean? Does that just mean the blades keep spinning, but like the engine's out? So what do you mean? But then I think I've seen thing where it's like literally the entire aircraft is spinning around. So maybe the aircraft is doing, or maybe it's falling and spinning, and that's like those maple or what do you call those things when they fall from the tree and they like spin down. So
oh
maybe
yeah, the helicopters is what they call them. Yeah.
it's like maybe like that spinning around is just reducing the direct fall, and that's what an auto rotation does. But like, you know, it's not a wing, so I mean the propeller is the wing, so.
I mean, they do call what's the military term? Rotary wing aircraft. They do try to. It's like, well, it's got a wing, kind of, right? Yeah, it spins around. Huh.
So yeah, we cut to there's a meeting at the Pentagon with the Secretary of Defense, played by Kurtwood Smith. So that's pretty fun.
He didn't come in the room like bitches leave. That was interesting.
And then we have Giles, played by Frank Whaley, who's like almost like the best hidden character actor in every movie in the '90s. You've seen him all over the place. Like he was in Pulp Fiction. He's the first guy that gets shot. So, he's like the guy who kills Gotti, and oh no, was it Gotti or what was who was the guy that got buried to submit?
Oh, yeah, the Teamsters guy. Oh, yeah, it's a joke, and they're always digging up people's backyards around here or looking for him. Hoffa.
Yeah, yeah, he killed Hoffa in the Hoffa movie. So it just kind of comes out of nowhere. I remember he had a fun bit in Curb Your Enthusiasm where he's like something where the guy is like trying to order like food from the drive-through on foot because they closed the restaurant but the drive-thru's open. And then he gets in a car with Frank Whaley and then it gets weird. um but yeah, this is like them. Yeah, they make a whole thing out because yeah, Frank, the Giles character says like, "Hey, we can't cover up the crash because people are like, they're saying like amateur like enthusiasts like know where these planes are, which those people do exist." But I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure Russian people would be doing that too. So, um, but they're saying they're better off telling the truth that like because when initially a guy comes in and says, "Yeah, C-130 crashed. Those crash all the time. Who gives a shit?" Um, so, but we can't tell them a B-2 bomber went down or a B-3 bomber here or a $2 billion bomber went down. We can't say that with nukes on board.
Yeah.
So the Secretary of Defense agrees, and then he sends Giles to go out on site, which you felt like this character would be more useful. Like he's gonna be, figure out the mystery or something like that, and like just never does. But like a lot of these like second tier characters just get completely thrown away in this movie, but that's fine,
Yeah.
This is
They're there to deliver some lines where everyone kind of looks menacingly or frighteningly at each other, and then
yeah.
on to the next thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they filmed the rest of the movie, and then they just need to have this here to like help guide the audience along to what's happening. So that being in Act 1, because we know something's going on, and Deacon's the bad guy, and someone's stealing nukes. So.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they actually just state that out loud. So, I mean, at
No,
some
you
point,
actually don't know what the hell's going on.
yeah.
If he like ejects Hale out of the plane, you're like, is he just going insane?
Yeah.
And then when he starts like talking on the radio and making things up before he pulls the ejection seat, it's like, oh, okay, no, he's got a plan.
Yeah.
Because it could just seem like, did he just have a psychotic break? Wouldn't make any damn sense, but
Head trauma, Nathan. CTE. For all that boxing. So we got Act 2. We got a meeting at the Pentagon with the Secretary of Defense. Oh, no, I just said all that. Did I write that? Oh, I was, yep. We got a helicopter pulls up to the crash plane. Guys search the area and report back to Wilkins. This is like the search and rescue team, the airmen, which like that's kind of like their special forces. They're the badass of airmen because basically airmen don't really fight, so these are the few guys that do. So
the guys that protect the silos, I guess, are pretty scary.
yeah,
I've heard that, like, because they do weird exercises where it's like, let's see if the Navy SEALs can break into one of our silos, and the silo protection guys I've heard, I've never experienced, they almost always win. They the craziest lunatics you can find, these guys know. But I think they're just like super technical, like they know everything about the silo, and they have tricks and traps. And
okay.
they have and they are just badasses. It's like, I'll just run at you shooting a machine gun so the other guys can secure once the doors close, you're not getting in unless you bring a truck full of dynamite or something. But yeah, I have heard that. I don't know if it's true or not. Probably is. We probably don't mess around with securing those things, or we do, and it's all a joke.
Well, I mean, the Air Force is not much of a ground fighting force, so they don't really worry about that aspect of it. And when like really, neither does the Navy, but the Navy has the Navy SEALs, and so it's like that kind of makes up for the rest of their forces.
And the Marines, that's like
yeah. That's what we do. So,
way fellows, party farewell, hip hip hooray!
Wake me up when you're within the enemy.
We're gonna go shoot missiles from the sea, which is like the best place. It's like, makes sense. Yeah, that's good. I also am fighting, but I'm also sleeping in a bed at night. Point.
And that's where we get like a call out because the guy's like, "Colonel, we got ourselves a broken arrow." So the titular line gets pulled out, which then I think immediately the guy goes, "What's a broken arrow?" It's like a lost nuke. So we've now we've now educated the audience. Um, but now that they know that, yes, they're not too worried that a B-2 bomber has crashed because like they know where it is essentially.
Yeah, they think they can control. It's like the out of control thing has happened.
Yeah.
Now we can start making plans to like, okay, we got to recover all this crap. And then you lie or not lie to people, or lie and tell like, yeah, one went down, but we don't talk about the fact that there's like nuclear ordnance.
But now they know that the nukes are missing from the planes, and now they're worried. So it's like, well, this
Yeah,
was
they act like
intentional.
it's a. Now that again, this is a silly movie, and like we said that before, but they act like that's a big deal, and no one would talk about it. Remember when they accidentally sent nuclear weapons on between two Air Force bases, like across the country? And when they landed, they were like, "Holy shit, there's nuclear weapons on here!" And everyone's like, "What?" And then people got fired, like generals and stuff. It's like, but it was in the newspaper, like we knew about it.
Yeah.
Not exactly the day it happened, but within a week. So it's like I don't know if they can keep that a secret because you say nuclear weapons and everyone starts talking. It's an immediate whisper campaign. Did you hear what happened?
Hale wakes up and his parachute's like dragging him around, and he undoes it. It does like, I don't know. This movie does have a cool like skate. It's like they're shooting in some national park in Utah or whatever somewhere. There's a lot of cool like landscape in this movie.
Oh yeah, I see. I have the places up. Specifically where it was filmed. It was filmed in Utah, Montana, and California.
Okay.
Uh, and where else was there? Thought there was some in Arizona too.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of that cool like it's like red rock, but it's like almost like shaped to look like like when you see like a kind of a weaving like reflection pattern in water,
Yeah.
and like that's how like the rock is broken down. It's like this is neat.
Yeah, it's like in Monument Valley and Moab and places
Yeah.
like that out in Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is shot in Utah too. That's another place.
Okay. Um. So he undoes the parachute. It's morning now. He puts a $20 bill under a rock as like symbolism for losing the match, which we're all looking at like that's 96. That's $20, man.
Yeah, it's like $100 or $1,000.
That's a month's worth of video game rentals.
Yeah.
um. Terry pops up behind him and points a gun on him. He moves out of the way and like to let the sunshine like blind her, which is like a fun little moment. They have a standoff, a back and forth, as she tries to arrest him for really no good reason, I guess, other than like he crashed a plane. But
I think they're trying to just establish some tension between these characters.
yeah,
Because I can't see in real life. It's like there's someone with a parachute and an Air Force uniform. Quick, let's point a gun. that would go on because he didn't find like dead bodies or anything before this, so there's no reason for her to.
Nobody's telling her what's going on.
So. Yeah, so she shouldn't be in this state of awareness where it's like I'm pulling a gun out on someone in the military because they crashed plane. As a taxpayer, I'm invoking citizens arrest.
He gets her gun off her for like a second time, and then he holds her up like with a gun to her head, and then he like uncocks it and hands the gun back to her. It's like, see, I'm not the bad guy here. So, she has a cool revolver. Nathan, what does the firearms database say about this gun?
Let's see, what is her revolver? It is a 357 Magnum.
Okay.
It is a Smith & Wesson Model 66.
Okay. All right. Because if John,
a functional gun used in the movie.
Okay. But if John Woo just doesn't put any gun in a movie, he makes a choice as to what the gun. Or maybe he just trusts his armorers, and maybe he just has the coolest armorers in the world or something. I don't know. So.
Well, I think they're trying to establish her because of her uniform or whatever as like a Wild West character who would have a Magnum revolver. When in reality, she would probably be like any cop carrying a Glock or Sig Sauer or whatever the common weapons.
I don't know. Do like Rangers carry guns?
I think out in places like that they do.
They worry about like wildlife coming at you or something.
And meth labs and crazy.
Okay.
Maybe not them, but crazy desert people.
Okay.
or people that are like, we're sovereign citizens. All right, great. Load your gun. Like, here we go. So yeah, I do believe they do. I don't think like the ones you have in your state or my state probably would be armed.
Okay.
Um, I know the wildlife people are because they're going after poachers, and it's like, well, you better have going after poachers because they will poach you.
Yeah, there's some hardcore anti-poachers in Africa. They're just like special forces guys.
Yeah,
With scars all over them, right? It's like you're not harming this animal.
yeah, they'll just follow a rhinoceros around, and it's like, oh, they're poaching. It's like, well, are we going to initiate an arrest? No, we're going to rake the forest with like full automatic weapons. It's like they're not poaching now. It's like, true.
Or they have some 50 cal sniper rifle that's like 10 feet long or something like that. We cut to the helicopter traces the nukes in a cavern. The airmen rappel down. This looks really cool, just the landscape of it.
Yes.
The helicopter waits. It lands and waits, and a Humvee pulls up and then shoots the airman. And a weird thing where the guy's like, it's like, oh man, look at this. And he goes down to tie his shoe, and then like he's blocking the view of the guy holding a gun behind him, which this all seems unnecessary and very specific. But whatever, it can play to an audience just fine. So.
And this happens a couple times in this movie where there's that diversion movement.
Yes.
And it's like, you got to have a lot of trust in somebody. Hey, I'm going to lean over and you're going to shoot a high powered rifle across my back. It's like, I'm not going to roll out of the way or anything. I'm just going to tie my shoe for two people and then stand up and look satisfied.
We could have shot these guys anytime, but we're going to set up this elaborate, peekaboo shooting range. So.
Yeah. We're going to set this up so I'm downrange of your weapon while you're firing it, because that's how badass we are. It is a cool scene.
We cut to Deakins appears at the mention of himself because I think it's like Pritchard's like bitching again. He's like, yeah, he's
probably dead. Start playing the music.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, it's like the very slowed down, like almost Twin Peaks vibe.
Yes.
Was that what's the guy's name who did the Twin Peaks?
Oh, Badalamenti or something like that.
Yeah, some Italian guy. Yeah.
Actually, I think he's like from Illinois. He just has he's Italian heritage, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. Let me look it up. The guy who did the Twin Peaks theme.
Everyone says that about this theme in this movie too. It's like, I thought this was like, is this going to get strange now? Is the log lady going to show up and like, the over here?
Angelo Badalamenti. Now let's go to his Wikipedia and find what lies we can see there. I'll trust anything on Wikipedia over the AI overview on any of these fucking garbage search things. Never trust the AI overview.
Never do.
Well, it's like that. I don't know. We made a mistake early on in doing the podcast where we just like, we need content, and we just like, there's too much content. And you just read a headline, and then you start talking about the headline if it's real. Which, if you actually read the article, you realize the headline isn't even like real. It doesn't even express what the article is about. It's like, oh, we got hoisted again.
The Earth is flat.
Yeah, he's from New York.
Okay.
which is like being from Italy, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, someone's from New York City, really? Well, shucks.
I don't know. He died in. Well, I guess I knew he was old, but he died in 2022 in Jersey.
Okay, how old was he? Mid-90s?
85.
85? Okay.
But yeah, this is Hans Zimmer doing Angela Badalamenti. So. Let's see where we go. So yeah, we cut it back to the airmen get to the nukes. Deacon's crew like learn of Terry calling in, seeing a pilot. So Deacon tells them like to go find them, or find her. And we come back to airman. The Airman Rescue Squad has their comms blocked. As they have hit the magical block all comms button,
Yes.
which that can be a real thing.
Guess the Russians are very good at that.
I remember they had it in the Miami Vice movie, which if Michael Mann puts it in a movie, it's probably a real thing.
Probably like talk to some guy. It's like, hey, how would you do this? Well, when we did it for the guy.
Well, no, there was drug dealers with that at the Jammer or whatever.
Oh, well, that's probably true. I mean, you could buy if you have drug dealer money, you could probably just go to Russia and buy that equipment. Like they would sell it.
I mean, look at anything that has broadcast. It's like it always has a specific thing that's not to interfere with like communications. It's like, okay, well that means this can be designed to interfere with communications. Yeah.
Why it's a felony to get like shortwave like hand transmitter radios and put like that's why they have the chips like welded down to the board. A frequency hopping chip in there where it would just randomly change frequencies all the time. Because you hook that up to like an amplifier or something and turn that on. Well, guess what? The police in your town are not talking to. If they're near your house, they're not talking. They will put you in prison for that. I know guys.
Hey, the bad thing about that is they can signals can be triangulated. So.
Oh no, they can. Yeah, you're not doing it and like not getting caught. It's just if you do it and somebody dies because they couldn't get an ambulance or a squad car somewhere. Well, you're getting charged for that one too, in addition to whatever the FCC is going to do to you. Now that information is probably 30 years old and completely outdated. Now it's just something I learned way back when I was weirdos or different weirdos.
The chief of like the airman squad goes to like dismantle a nuke. I don't know the airmen have like weird and cool like names. Like I think this guy would be like a chief technical sergeant or something like that.
Yeah, it sounds like something. Yeah, all the Air Force has like sci-fi sounding ranks.
Yes, yeah.
It's like it sounds like something from the Revolutionary War and Star Trek.
and their chevrons have like so many chevrons. Yes. It's very weird. So.
Chief Master Sergeant.
Okay. So he's probably like an E8 or something like that.
Yeah, so he is a chief, master, and a sergeant.
Yeah, like in the Army, everything's a sergeant, so you can so they just abbreviate. They just call everybody Sarge.
Yeah.
Except for lower ranks, they're still like privates and stuff like that. But as Marines, we had to say their full title. So like the Army could call their sergeant first class, "Hey Sergeant," very formal way to talk to your superior. We always had to say like "Good morning, Sergeant First Class." So like we couldn't shortcut that stuff. Although we could sometimes, you call it like if you know your gunnery sergeant, you could just call him Gunny if he was cool with that. So
yeah,
which is a cool nickname. But
I was hoping like Space Force would have wild name. They don't. They just copy the Air Force.
Oh, okay.
I was hoping they would have like just weird names. Like, Eternity Soldier. I think they would have.
Yeah. I would like the Coast Guard to have weird names, but I believe they're just entirely mirror the Navy. So,
like Starman, First Class,
Black Matter.
I'm Dark Matter certified. Singularity Jones.
They won't let me on social media anymore.
Yeah. We need a Singularity Man up here. Just go full sci-fi.
Man, I wish it was better, but maybe it just lives better in my head. Space Above and Beyond.
It lives better in your head.
I think there's only 2 seasons to that show.
There's only 1, I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
Got too wildly expensive.
Yeah.
Every mission was a suicide mission. You know how much?
I say the Chief's trying to dismantle a nuke, but Kelly, played by Howie Longhair, who he's supposed to be a good guy at this moment. Then he just shoots and gives the all clear to everybody around him. So, um, then we cut to Kelly like fakes a call back to base saying the nuke is broken open and like fakes his death on the radio, which is where like the guys say like, "Hey, that's great acting." He's like, "Huh." I'm guessing this is all supposed to be an inside joke or something like that. But yeah, whatever.
Well, John Travolta's running a an electric shaver.
Yeah.
So it sounds like is that ionizing radiation interfering with the radio signal?
Yeah.
And Howie Long's like, "Oh God, what do I do?" Like, just it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then John Travolta just pulls the cable for the mic. Is like, "Good job." Yeah. Everyone's laughing.
Pritchett is angry again, but Deacon tells him how how the call has bought them time, so now they can't just send out choppers. Now they got to like send a special team out, the NEST, the Nuclear Emergency Search Team, or something like that, or whatever.
Which is a real thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing. Yeah.
The latest thing they did, at least that they talked to the public about, was a guy was getting radiation treatment in New York City for his cancer, and he got in the subway right after he had treatment, and he tripped the radiation alarms in the subway as if someone was bringing nuclear material in there. And the New York City NEST team like met him where they and stripped him down, and he had to explain to him, and then they scanned him, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, sorry about that. We nuclear bomb." So, they got famous when Gerald Ford. Somebody said where the president had landed, they called and said, "We put a nuclear bomb in the city, and if he tries to take off, we'll detonate unless you give us like $100,000." One of those weird things that happened in the 70s, when everyone was a lunatic.
Yeah.
Of course, NEST was deployed, and it's like, yeah, we're not detecting anything. That's the first time they came into the public domain. It's like there's like special forces for nuclear bombs, which they're actually just scientists, and they're more like FEMA, Homeland Security now. We'd call them guys, but
okay.
Yeah, but it's like it's one time it's like that's Delta Force for nukes. It's like no, they've all got PhDs and stuff. They're like super smart guys. They might have guns. They probably have a gun part of it. But
yeah, they'll know how to use a gun. I always like that. What was it the N2, that experimental submarine they used?
The NR1.
Yeah, the NR1. That book's fun because it's like this guy. They had to be on the crew. You basically had to take the Buds course, which that's like the pre-course to like being a Navy SEAL, which is also a grueling and very hard thing to do. And it's just like this guy with like, I have a doctorate in physics, but I gotta go be a Navy SEAL so I can run the submarine. So.
Yeah. So I could drive the submarine across the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
Weird wheelie submarine.
Yeah, with a tire made by Kellogg.
So. The smallest nuclear reactor ever made. Or at that time, I think, yeah.
Yeah, it only had shielding in one direction, and they just let the ocean be the other shield. So, if you ever had to work on the sub, you had to turn off the nuclear reactor. So.
Turn it off. Wait 72 hours.
We cut to Terry tries to radio into her dispatch, which I guess just can't because it's being blocked. I guess. Because things are already being blocked. So I figured like her dispatch guy would be dead or something like that, but he never shows up again. He never is voiced ever again, so it doesn't really matter. So.
Yeah, once her truck blows up, she's out of communication.
Hale gets a weird feeling as they keep having this like almost like Jaws cam or like Raimi cam of the first person of the helicopter.
Very much of Evil Dead, like people.
And then Hale gets a weird feeling, which basically this is like everyone's thing in this movie is everyone has this intuition that something weird is going to happen. So then he like as she's like radioing, he pulls her out of the truck as the chopper appears and just opens fire on the truck and blows it up. So there's a lot of cool explosions in this movie. So the chopper chases after him. Haley's trying to fight them with a revolver, which is kind of like, well, that's not going to go well. But then he runs out of bullets, but she has some like just loose rounds in her pocket, and
no speedboaters in evidence here. Keeping even though those existed from the 80s. But yeah,
Yeah.
for some reason she doesn't have any.
Yeah, you figured John Woo would do that. That's just a cool little mechanism for a gun. So,
Well, I think it gave the plot time to develop while
yeah,
he's
that's true.
loading them in one at a time because she's like, I'll distract them. He's like, wait,
Yeah.
machine guns mounted on it.
Which I thought, like, this is the 90s, so I was like expecting her to like to go like somewhere and like pull her shirt off to like flash the chopper or something like that. No,
That
she
was
just
wild.
no, she just goes and waves at the chopper like, "Hey, help us." And then but it's like a cool like this makes sense because she like gets down and he's like down below the chopper, but he's got like a it's that like that footwell window in the chopper that he shoots
Yeah.
through and hits the guy in the throat and kills him, and the chopper crashes, and then she keeps almost getting hit by the spinning blade. So it's like,
Yeah, that actually, I don't know if that's real, but it makes sense. It makes more sense than he's shooting at the helicopter and then all of a sudden the turbine starts whining. It's like, oh, he hit a component. Is like,
yeah,
that's not a civilian helicopter. It's up armored, but maybe you could shoot through that footwell window. I want to believe it
yeah.
because it's then like, well, anyone can take out an attack chopper
Yeah.
to attack from inside a valley.
I don't know. Also, the choppers in the movies are both like invulnerable and vulnerable all at the same time, because they totally use a chopper to like kill a guy with the chopper blades. It's like you would not do that. That would
I would be worried about damaging the only thing that's keeping me in
yes.
the air. But it would also be like, hey, you can do that to those guys. It's like waited all my life. Looking into it, it's like these intrusive thoughts now they're going to become reality.
There was a great joke on like the last episode of the Action Boys. Like I know this is stupid. It's like, hey, here's a great joke. I'm gonna ruin it here, but it's like, but you know, but they're talking about John Landis being a helicopter parent. It's hilarious.
Oh my god, that's dark. That's dark as hell.
Because they were talking about Max Landis, who like he got in trouble for being I don't know weird and handsy or whatever. I'm not sure what's going on there. And so and they were talking about, but like the joke was like, yeah, we're gonna bring back Max Landis, but like we can't never do anything because his dad's always around. He's being a helicopter parent. So it's like,
That's that is funny.
if you don't know, John Landis killed 3 people with a helicopter to try to make a cool scene. So, anyway, as a reminder of that here because there's a lot of almost people getting almost killed with blades in this movie. Well, one guy does, I guess, too. So, then we cut to like Deacon's team. They see the chopper blowing up from a distance, which just makes Pritchett mad again. It's like, how are we gonna transport the the nukes? And it's like, you know, got trucks. So, so but yeah, here's where they reveal that the plan is to ransom off the nukes to the U.S. if they don't set them off. So they don't set them off or whatever. Yeah. Then we cut back to like the like Wilkins like command room, and Giles just states out plainly that like Deacon's group are gonna like. Oh, so yeah, he states the plan basically for Wilkins, and like, yeah, this was intentional. None of this is a mistake. So, which I think they already knew that, but or no, I guess they were scared that they lost the nukes, but now they're extra scared because now the nukes are being ransomed. So.
Yeah, that's which is worse almost.
We cut to Terry and Hale like try to plan out a Deacon's next move. Here he's like Hale's just trying to like talk about it like, you know, talking about like, because in the boxing match he says like he throws a left, and you think he's gonna throw a right, and he just throws a left again or something, or the opposite of that. So it's all about tricking your opponent. You know, the sweet science of boxing. You know, make your opponent think one thing and then do the other thing. I also like talk about the rope-a-dope in this movie, which I think they get it wrong.
Okay.
Well, they get it right when they talk about it first, but then later on when they talk about it, it's like, no, the rope-a-dope is just making your opponent punch themselves out of the match and then like using all your energy at the end of the match. Like, I'm pretty sure that's the rope-a-dope, right? Am I getting it wrong?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I've never actually seen that match. Have you seen that match?
What the was it the Rumble in the Jungle?
Yeah,
No, I've never seen that one.
yeah. Okay.
I've heard a lot about it, but for some
Yeah. I've never bothered to. Yeah, I've heard about it forever. I've never bothered to actually go watch it. So, because it was George Foreman and Muhammad Ali. Um. Um. So yeah, they spot the Humvees. And Hale takes Terry's gun, and then he tells Terry to like go get a phone, but then she just follows after him. Hale and Jerry jump on top of the truck with the nukes in it because they talk about like they know the nukes are in this truck because there's only one guy in it, and they're trying to keep the weight down. Which presumably, I don't know. The driver shoots at them, and then Hale falls off, but like, which makes it seem like these trucks are going really slow. That he can just run back to the thing, but this driver is busy being occupied, trying to fight off this lady. So,
yeah,
um, um, and they make a little because like Deacons like tells him to like ram Hale, and he ends up like hopping in the truck at the last moment and ramming the back of the other one. The truck with the nukes in it. They knock the driver out, and then he gets ran over and killed. So that doesn't spread a lot of confidence in the rest of your men. It's like you're not even bothering to like avoid killing. And these guys are all like ex-military, so it's like it's, I don't, just no honor among thieves, I guess.
yeah,
And this is where we get the great line. It's probably one of my favorite lines from movies because the Kelly character is just shooting like at the other truck with the nukes in the back of it, and Deacons through gritted teeth just goes, "Would you mind not shooting at the thermonuclear weapons?" Which is also a great line in Hunt for Red October, where he's like, things in here don't react well to bullets. So
yeah,
that's in perfect Russian accents. um. Hale like rids up like a flare in a gas can, and like it blows up on the Humvee, but just kind of like it's like a car wash of fire. So they just have to stop and put the fire out, and then they get away. Hale finds a radiation tag from St. Jude's Hospital, so that's just kind of like a clue for later on. So, they get to an abandoned mine. Hale wonders like why there are new locks on it, and Hale says this place has been prepped by Deacons. Terry provides background on it. It's like a copper mine, so this is going to be a good place to blow up the nuke and not have it like harm the rest of this place.
right.
I don't know if it's true or not. Whatever. It also has an underground river, so I'm like, is that underground river now irradiated? Like, I don't know. Hale opens up the nuke to disable it. He gets on a walkie-talkie with like Deacons, and it's like he's talking about like if he enters the code 3 times, the nuke will disable it. And then Deacon's like, I changed the circuit board, and now entering the wrong code 3 times starts a 30-minute timer to explode. So yeah, I guess that's him like walking into a trap or whatever, which just seems like too it doesn't seem like they had time to do any of this, but whatever, it just happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who's getting access to the nuclear weapons. Like, what are you doing there, Chief? Oh, just changing out the circuit board. All right, cool. But that's the thing with this movie. You're not going to enjoy it unless you just like accept all this nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like I doubt there's almost no way Nuke has like this giant keypad on it. So
yeah, it's like you're turning off the coolant to the reactor on the Nostromo.
Yeah.
It's like, are 2 tubes going to pop up and you flip switches? And things like that would be cool.
Hale has to give Terry a pep talk to get her to help him drag the nukes into the mine. So, because at all moments these nukes weigh nothing or everything, depending on the moment. So it's like
it just seems like these can be moved by like 100 and some pound people. Just pick it up, and it's like that would be massively heavy.
Well, no, like some scenes it's like nobody can handle this, and the next scene it's like we're just throwing it on our shoulders.
It's only going to take us 3 minutes to drag this up the stairs and move it. I don't know. I've never seen an actual warhead in real life, believe it or not. But I imagine the shielding around that alone would make it very.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because it's all lead, right? It's like a lead, like kind of. What do you call that? Octagon? Or no, it's not octagon. Whatever. octangle thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like a. Oh, they did a good visualization of it in that movie, The Manhattan Project, with John Lithgow.
Yeah.
The kid makes the what do they call that? The implosion lenses, which is what the explosives are. He just uses a basket or a soccer ball shape.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like that will lens the core, and you know.
They take an elevator down into the mine shaft. They mention an underground river. They load one nuke on a mine car and run it further in the mine. You know, for plot purposes, they leave the other one behind.
Yeah,
They can clearly fit both nukes in that thing, but whatever.
and you should. But
um. Uh. Then we cut to Giles meets Wilkins, and then Giles learns that Deacon is stealing the nukes, not Hale, because they have a moment like early on where like Giles is like he reads the transcript of like Hale's lost it, so it's like Hale's stealing the nukes, and then that's wrong, and then none of it matters. So whatever. There's a shootout in the hallway with Hale and Deacon's crew. Um, Deacons gets the nuke, and Deacons shortens the timer and breaks the keyboard, which makes you think it's like, oh, I guess, I guess Hale should have broken the keyboard in the first
that
place.
would have solved. Smashing it with a hammer would have solved all the problems.
um, Hale and Terry being chased by one of Deacon's goons. Deacon shows up to gloat and tell them about the shortened timer. And then Hale like goes guns akimbos after Deacons, because he's now got like a Sig Sauer or something like that, and the revolver, and so he just like dual wields that running down running down a tunnel, so it looks all cool and stuff. He does a diving leap to behind cover, so he's taking cover. He's not the dual wielding would do nothing, but it's giving yourself some covering fire. Terry gets a drop on a guy when it's looked like it's supposed to be the other way around, but then she like loses the advantage. Hale comes in and shoots him a bit, or like he gets shot in the shoulder and I think like in the stomach, but he like hauls off. And then Hale grabs this guy's submachine gun, which I don't know what this is. Submachine gun this guy has.
This guy, I believe, I'm looking at the picture right now. I think it is it's a Beretta Model 12.
Okay, all right.
European looking one, because it has the hand grip in the front and the back, but it looks like it's stamped metal.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Like the Heckler and Koch CNC types, which you see later.
Okay.
Or the MP5s that you see later. So this, I believe this is a Beretta Model 12. It's a 70s style.
I mean, yeah. Again, like John Woo loves Italian guns, so that makes sense. And then there's like some confusion in the chaos, and Deacon ends up shooting his own guy, who drops a grenade he had like about to throw, and then Hale catches the grenade and then tosses it at Deacon's, and like it explodes in midair, but like Deacon's is completely on not hurt by this at all. But there's a cave collapse, and that gives Deacons and Hale like a moment to banter, which I like. Was it Deacons now has like he's got like a mini 15, right? Or yeah, right, that or the. Yeah, what's that mini? It's like an M1 Garand, but it's like it's like an M14, but the mini Ruger or whatever.
Yeah, the Mini 14.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's actually a Ruger AC 556K.
Oh, okay. I thought this was just that. Okay. Because it has that weird like unfolding stock, so I just thought it was the Mini Ruger, or the Mini 14.
It's probably same heritage.
Okay.
Let's see, when did this come in? Oh, this is another 70s gun.
Okay.
Yes, this is kind of the precursor to the Mini 14.
Which the Mini 14 is basically like a civilian 5.56 version of the M14.
Yeah.
But insanely expensive for what looks like should not be an expensive gun. So.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like all the gun tube guys will be like, this thing's great. You can get any gun that will do this for half the money or eighth of the money in some cases. Now the Mini 14s that are all chromed out
Yeah.
with the red wood. Now those are cool.
Yeah.
When you're like the guy from the A Team in the '80s, like he had one of those. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool, but it's not worth like I don't know $5,000.
Yeah.
No, I can stretch that gun dollar a lot further.
Yeah. um, does a Glock ever not make a handgun?
Not that I know. That's a good question, but no, I think they make like knives and entrenching tools and guns
Okay. All right.
and then cookware or something.
Because I was just thinking about it. It's like, oh yeah, they don't make like rifles or submachine guns. It's just well, unless you consider their auto Glocks a submachine gun. So.
I mean, it's pretty close, I guess.
I mean, it'll fire faster than a submachine gun.
Yeah.
So.
I imagine in that market, because all those European 9mm sub guns all look kind of the same. So I imagine if Glock's like, we're making a 9mm sub gun, it's like, well, yeah, every country.
Well, also like Glock is such like an outlier of something that should never exist. Like
yeah,
a company like that making a gun breaking in the market should never exist. Them continuing to do it shouldn't exist. So I'm guessing them sticking to what works is what keeps them alive. Because if they made a gamble of like we're gonna make a rifle and that fails, then that company goes under. So.
yeah, it's not a very big company, and it's being slowly subsumed by American ownership too. The family like originally owns it; they still own a lot of it, but yeah, they're because most of their customer base is the civilian market here.
Yeah.
It's their big cash cow. So yeah, because like every other Glock has the Georgia state stamp on it now. But yeah, it's an unusual company, and that's like a '70s design too.
Yeah.
Like it still looks futuristic. It's like no, that's older than almost any gun you can find nowadays. It's not like just a heritage type weapon. It's a pretty old design.
With slight improvements along the way, but they all look basically look the same. But you know, hey, what you can do? If it works,
Well,
it works.
it's like super safe. They got rid of the whole safety, where they just made a gun where it's like, no, you have to pull the trigger for it to fire. That's the safety.
Yeah.
Like you're not looking for a safety. You have to make a complete pull of the trigger. That's why, and then people complain about their triggers, like, oh, their triggers are too heavy. It's like, yeah, that's two things in one. Not like a light, you don't want like a hair trigger Glock because it's gonna blow your nuts off. So yeah. And that's been Gun Talk.
Well, it's a John Woo movie. You talk about guns because they're basically art pieces in this movie. So
yeah.
But yeah. The other like I'm not sure conspiracy theory because if it's guns, it's like that's just one and the same. If it's a gun, it's a conspiracy.
Built into the DNA of the what product. Yeah.
But yeah, like that the SIG contract for the handguns was like that's just a political thing, and so but now like the Glock submission is going to come to civilian markets, and that's supposed to be like a like a grand new thing. It's like like now civilian market's gonna get this awesome new gun that the army was sold out of, and it's just gonna be a Glock. So
it's a Glock. What is it? A Glock 19 upper and a Glock 17 handle.
Yeah, something like that.
So it's basically like a Glock 17 with like this much missing off the front of it. Is how I understand it. Now they're making it sound like there's different internals. It's like no, they're gonna stick with the same stuff.
Will it have a safety, or can you get one with a safety?
The military required one. I don't know if the civilian market would.
Okay, because like
it was called the Deviant Glock because they required a physical safety, and Glock's like, that's what we do. We don't have safety. You have to pull the trigger. You have to know how to shoot the gun.
Because the SIG 320 you could get both versions. You could get like a mil spec with a safety, or you could just get the civilian without it. So
yeah. And then that's like what's the one that torpedoed SIG's reputation?
Well, it's the 320, right? Or is it a different one?
Is that the one that drops and it can go off, and then they had to
It can, but like Like I've never seen it be a problem. So
Well, I mean, look,
well, they did run a thing where you could they did run a recall on them,
yeah, yeah.
which I never got the trigger and mine changed out. So hey, wing that thing like it's a batarang and see if it goes off. So
Well, there's two things I do with my Glocks. I use them for, target shooting, self defense, and all that. And when I have to nail wood together, round chambered, I'm only when I have to use a handgun as a hammer, and specifically the back strap of the handgun. I'm pounding. I want to have confidence that that gun's not going to go off.
I remember I thought it was funny the what was it the Grand Thumb they did a drop thing with that and a bunch other and they did it with a blank in the round and like dropped it off of a container, threw it on the ground, nothing ever happened, it never went off.
Never gonna
But
happen.
then they grabbed like these fucking $5,000 1911s and like all of them went off.
Oh yeah. They don't have the wieldy safety in them. They will do that every time. And they will go off in the most common drop that happens too, the face drop.
Yes.
That is what will set a 1911. That's the most common way to drop a gun is a face drop. And they will do that. That's because my Kimber, they go out of the way to say it's got the wieldy safety in it. So if you drop it, it won't shoot. It's like, okay, cool. So when it's one of those things. It's like when I'm jumping out of an aircraft with this, I don't have to see that kind of use. But I do love the people that are all about it. It's not safe. It's like,
yeah.
What are you doing with your gun? You've got to be ready to go at a moment's notice. Where? Hard? I mean, Al-Qaeda's not coming through my kitchen window here. I live in the middle of America.
But, reality and reputation are like two different things. Because remember, like, there's like that 20 years there where it's like an M16 was a death trap that will never work in any inclement weather. And it was like, well, there was a reason for that because they used the wrong gunpowder.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, oh, it's actually like you cover it in mud. It's actually the thing that's most reliable to like fire and like those kind of atomic. Now it's still the AK-47 is still way more rugged, but like the AR-15 is so like locked down and has there's not a lot for ingress to happen.
Well, you need the AK-47 to be able to fire continuously under any circumstances because you can't hit shit with it. It's got to be. It's like the engine that only produces 80 horsepower, but it never dies. It's like you are. It is the hair, the tortoise and the hare. It is. But you really want the hair because you don't, unless you want to just shoot thousands of rounds and not hit anything. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I've never had any luck with an AK-47 hitting the broadside of a barn. I think they look cool.
Yeah.
But it's like almost any other rifle I've picked up and fired after about 5 minutes. It's like, oh, I'm hitting exactly where I want it to go. Not the AK-47. It's like,
I was fine.
At this is it my fault?
Yeah, I was totally fine with mine, but I've never like taken it out to anything beyond like 50 yards. So it's,
I mean, I have an AR. I've fired it 300 times. I know exactly what it does. The same thing every time.
Yeah.
It fires. It's never had a feed failure. Never had a jam, even when it was brand new. And it's like I kind of like don't bring it out anymore because it's like it's the most plain, white bread gun. It's like it's gonna do what I need it to do every time. It's like, look where the sight is. Up, it hit the target. Let's go out even further. It did it again. Can we go out to 1,000 yards? No. Not that kind of gun.
So yeah, so they have some banter here with the roof collapsed, and then he talks about like, well, goodbye, and then Deacon runs off and he takes a nuke up the elevator with him, and then like Terry and Hale kind of like do a run around and they get to the elevator too as it's going up, but then they send the elevator back down and then drop grenades down with it, and so they're able to like they hear the crunching and see the grenades and are able to leap out of the way. So grenades are completely ineffective in this movie. They never kill anybody.
They're very effective at bringing down tunnels, destroying like heavy industrial equipment like elevators. But yeah, if one goes off next to your head in the middle of the air, it's just walk it off. Be a coward. It's
um, Hale says there's no way there. It's the only way out, so they basically wait to die. But then Terry says like she can find the underground river to get out of there because she said that's like why they closed down the mine because they found the river there.
okay.
Deakins is racing away. The nest chopper is closing in on them. Terry and Hale get into a tunnel, and then they just like kind of fall through the ground and into this underground river. So they just find it by accident. Pritchard, we cut back, and Pritchard is bitching again. So Deakins just hits him in the throat with a pipe, and then he just dies. Just
That's
chokes.
another reason this is an R-rated movie because he crushes his windpipe.
Yeah.
And the guy just suffocates next to him, and he's like, "Hush."
And then just comically like blows smoke in his face because like the guy doesn't like him smoking. So.
Yeah.
He doesn't like corpse smoking. He doesn't like people smoking. So.
Yeah, this guy's a thing about fumes.
Yeah, I mean, he does say it out loud like he's the bankroll of this operation, but he also talks about there's like presumably like a group of people above him that he works
terrorist
for.
investment groups.
Yeah. Or it's just businessmen. That's what he makes it sound like. Like this is just an investment group.
It's like, why is this guy here? Patent. He's clearly not like doesn't have the mindset for like, oh, there's contingency plans. He's like an insurance like adjuster who's there like this plan is not working out. He's clearly going to get killed by one of these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just there because he spent a lot of money, or his group spent a lot of money, so he's there just to make sure that the money was well spent. So.
Which is why they included the character, because everyone wants to see those people die.
Yeah.
He's dying, kill him. It's like when what's his name gets killed in Aliens. It's like the guy from what's the guy's name? The actor.
Oh,
he was a comedy.
Is it Paul something?
Paul Reiser.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing particularly wrong with the guy. Is like he's a comic actor, but he played such a hateful character. It's like, good, I hope that thing eats him. Guy sucks. Monster.
So as the nest chopper hovers above them, he tells Kelly not to fire, so they just sit there and wait, and Deacon just smokes. And he says, turn off your electric equipment now. You know, presumably he's going to, like, this will preserve the equipment during the EMP blast, which don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah.
The nuke blows up in the mine. There's a blast that, like, fires out of the shaft, but basically the mine holds the nuclear blast in general. Which, yeah, there was, like, they did ban, like, blowing up nukes, like, above ground, but you could still do it below ground, so that is a thing that happened.
Until 1993 or 91.
Yeah, now you can't blow up any nukes.
Supposedly, or you just found better ways to hide it.
We're going to create an earthquake to hide our nuke test. Although I'm pretty sure the scientists could pick that apart. So
No, we have ways to know. We know whenever North Korea lights one up. We have ways. We had satellites in orbit in the 70s.
Yeah.
Test pick. Remember I told you about that? The Vela 2 satellites? And then they told Carter immediately, like, oh, we caught a double flash. That's only a hydrogen, because the fission fusion effect, it creates a very distinct double strobe.
Okay.
You need really sensitive. You can't see it with your you need really sensitive equipment. It's only produced by nuclear weapons, so they made the Vela satellites just to detect that, to catch the Russians or someone doing an above ground test. And it's like, oh, they did this in an island. Like, it's like, where? It's like, oh, near Antarctica. Like, who has access to that island? Who would be down there? And they're like, oh yeah, this is the South Africans and the Israelis. And Carter was like, the satellites malfunction. You know, he goes out and clearly this didn't work. We'll have to recalibrate the satellites. There was no above ground nuclear test of a it's like, yeah, there was, but it's two key allies. So we're like, oh yeah, shh.
We see a shockwave of dirt, which just looks really cool. I don't know if this is just like a miniature or if they did this practically. I don't know if you saw anything.
It's probably a combination of both.
Okay.
Like the close shots they did practically, but the wide shot was a miniature, because it carves a bowl out of the earth like pretty convincingly.
Yeah.
And it creates like almost this land tsunami type wave.
Yeah.
which I mean, we have experience detonating them underground. Maybe you could find test footage and recreate.
I mean, there's that really fucking like rad and horrible thing of like the peroxide rocket fuel plant that blows up in the desert, and you see
Yeah,
the shock wave, like, and you can see,
miles just traveling towards you.
yeah,
Yeah,
because you can see the sand just move out in a wave, and you can see the wave, the shock, the literal shock wave, and the like the haze of it going outward. It's like holy shit. You can see it hit the camera, and then the sound hit it like much later. And it's like wow, it's amazing. um. But yeah, this is just like a really cool scene in this movie. So I have that being the end of Act Two because a nuke went off. Nobody died except for this Nest team when the chopper crashed. Again, I don't know why the Nest team doesn't have a EMP guarded equipment on its chopper, but whatever. Maybe they just
you
got
think those would be the one guys that might actually? But it gives John Travolta a reason to do another weird character because the helicopter flips over, crashes, and explodes, and everyone dies, and he's like, "God damn, that was
yeah,
it's weird."
yeah,
Like, chew the scenery.
yeah. Yeah, and Kelly's like, "You're the man." He's like, "I'm the man." It's just like two different energies interacting. So it's like, oh yeah, this is an actor, and this is a football player. So, um, we have Act Three. Hale and Terry are on the beach trying to dry off. Terry's freaking out about radiation, but they see butterflies and assume that they're going to be okay. I don't know if these are real or CG butterflies. They look convincing, so I don't know.
It's probably something you would see out there. I do know this about butterflies. It's true. If there's any they're very delicate creatures.
Yeah.
And if there is any environmental abnormalities like chemical leaks and stuff, it's like they will not. They die off pretty quick.
Okay.
They're actually They are a good canary in the coal mine because they're a creature that is born as one thing and then dissolve and transform into something else. So they're very susceptible to a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Smallpox. The smallpox that they get has ravaged their population because they have really weird DNA because it changes from one thing to another.
Yeah.
Unlike ours, where it's always the same, we just grow older, and I guess it makes them really susceptible to wild stuff.
Huh.
Yeah, if you like release a bunch of ammonia or whatever around monarch butterflies, they'll just fall out of the sky. Imagine radiation would do them in too.
So these are the butterfly in the copper mine after a nuke. So
Yeah,
they don't die, so you're good.
yeah.
Which again, that water will do a good thing of blocking off the radiation.
Water's the good insulator. On the ISS, when they get too close and there's a lot of solar radiation coming in, they go hide in the room where all the water's kept. Because they can't bring lead up to the ISS because it costs $1 billion an ounce or whatever to get up in space. They're not throwing lead on there.
Yeah, what was that in Artemis? What they have like their like bartering system is based on like weight.
Yeah,
because that's how everything's based on getting stuff into space. Yeah, it's like...
yeah, that determines the cost. It's like you want a bottle of whiskey, that's $8,000, or how many
that's
ounces?
like 6 ounces. I'm gonna need 6 ounces. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but I remember it was like, oh yeah, that's neat. I guess if your entire thing is based on that, it's like yeah, they bring neon for welding because it's lighter than argon. So,
Yeah, as long as you're tied to chemical rockets and you don't have like an energy source that's that you can just treacle out. If it's like as long as you're using chemicals, you're bound to some pretty strict limitations.
Yeah.
Unless those chemicals have no value, which refined rocket fuel has tremendous value. It's very expensive and dangerous to make. And it has one purpose. You don't use it to scour pans and get rockets into space. So it's not something that's what they would call scalable. That's why they always want to make the space elevators. Like that would solve all our problems.
Yeah.
It's like, well, except the materials that don't exist to make something that we don't have diamond boron cables yet. It's like, nope, not yet.
Yeah, I accidentally there was a day I was supposed to be like off in class, but I didn't realize it, and it was like a day for like all the like honor graduates to come in, and like I just ended up in a conference for them talking about like uranium carbon nanotubes or something like that, which are like which they can make the tubes do what they want, but then it's irradiated.
Yep.
But so it's like, yeah, if we can just like transfer this over to carbon nanotubes, then everything will be fine. So it's like, well, that sounds neat. I have no idea how they're accomplishing this, so I guess they didn't. So that was
Well, the
10 years ago.
uranium was like providing energy for the nano builders. That was the thing. They were using like essentially how they power like those rovers, we send up to Mars or whatever.
Yeah,
Those are based on like some kind of uranium decay pellet,
yeah.
whatever. But yeah, if they made the nano tubes, they could grow. The way they were building it was they needed energy, so they had to use uranium. And it's like if they could use like something that wasn't like toxic to people, it's like, oh, we could implement this stuff. But it was the problem was energizing it,
Yeah.
which is the problem with everything. That's why we don't have laser guns and stuff. Like we can make laser guns, can't carry them around because the energy requirements.
We gotta put them on a boat.
Yeah.
With like a nuclear reactor.
Yeah, so we have all that stuff. It's just, and it also gets knocked out of alignment pretty easy too.
Yeah.
Because they have a rail gun and a laser on Navy ships now. It's like, oh, when it works, it's devastating as long as we can line up that perfect shot. As soon as somebody starts firing like missiles at it or whatever and shocks it around, guess what's not going to work?
We cut to Terry and Hale find a boat on the river. Deacon shows up with the nuke. There's like some pause by Deacon, like he knows Hale is there or whatever, even though it's like, yeah, he's supposed to be dead. Again, this is just random nonsense for the movie, where it's like, oh, does he know he's there?
It's the sixth sense of these two predators trying to outplay each other.
Those guys leave, so Terry and Hale sneak in on the boat, but then they hear the guys coming back, and Hale jumps off the boat, and Terry like hides under some supplies, just under a blanket. So they take off on the boat. We cut to the Pentagon is watching the ransom video by Deacons. Hale makes contact with the military, and then we cut to Terry hops on the new transport truck with a nuke. So yeah, we're moving pretty fast here.
Yeah, we're wrapping up. Yeah.
We cut to Hale's brought in with a bunch of choppers where they say like but the guy's like holding them like we brought the prisoner here, but he isn't being treated like a prisoner, so that was kind of a weird line. So, but I guess in this instance, you just treat everybody like a prisoner. Like this guy just set off a nuke.
Nukes. This was one of the guys responsible for. Yeah, we're not just going to be like, hey, hail and well met, friend. It's like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Somebody's detonated one. It's like, what are these lunatics doing?
Hale talks with Giles and Wilkins. Basically Hale makes a bunch of correct guesses. Then we cut to Deacon doing everything he talked about because he's like, oh, I found a St. Jude's like lanyard, so he's gonna hide the nukes in like the radiation department at a hospital in Utah. But then he's like, no, I think that was a plant. So I think he's actually going. If he's making us think he's going west and he's actually going east, and then he points at a map and it says Colorado, like, and he's going by train, and we just cut to him on train on a nuke going to Colorado. So it's like everything he guessed is true. So
I wanted the Colonel to do a Delroy Lindo line. It's like, how in the fuck would he know anyone was going to find that in the first place? But he did. I was waiting for that line.
Well, they have some. Also,
deliver that line.
Well, they have Hale do something like he's like, I have to rescue this lady. She's just a civilian. We took an oath as an officer. It's like I don't think any of that is involved in here. It's just about enemies, foreign and domestic. Which now you have domestic enemies here. So,
and that might be a real consideration that men also might have. It's like, yeah, they got one lady, and what is the population of Boulder, Colorado? We're just going to shell that train until there's no possible life, because that is the actual mathematics that they would. If there was nuclear weapons on the loose,
yeah,
someone could just having them on the loose in an undetonatable form is dangerous as hell. Let alone it's like, yeah, this guy like rewired them. He outsmarted all the people at Lawrence Livermore Labs who came up with permissive action later. But you never don't ever go this far with this movie. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah. Well, there's also something here where it's like Wilkins is like, I have my orders, and then like there's a pause, like which one I'm not gonna follow them, and I'm like, I don't think he actually stated what his orders were. So, but like him and like and Hale are gonna go after like Deacons together. And then Giles is like, I wish I could go with you. You know, I was in the ROTC. He's like, oh, it was good for you. And then that's just the end of Giles for the rest of the movie. So he really did nothing.
It's like, does he go with them? And I also was like, it's just three guys in a helicopter stopping the nuke.
Yeah.
It would be like, if I'm going to change my orders, I'm bringing like 5 Apaches and like one of those Chinooks with like 20 guys in the back of it.
Well, I'm guessing what happens here is that they have to commit a larger force to the St. Jude's idea.
Yeah.
And then this is like their like scout force to see if this other idea is what's going on.
I mean, and also they were confined by a budget where they couldn't have like 4 helicopters.
Yeah.
It seemed kind of ridiculous. It's like, just 3 of us, man. We're going to do it.
Yeah, we already blew up 2 helicopters and we're about to blow up 2 more. That's the rest we have for this movie. So
yeah, we've used our helicopters.
You saw that landing field. They had 4 helicopters. They're going to blow them all up. So let me cut to Deacons and his crew are like crawling around on a train, so they don't have a train. They also show off a new remote timer, so that's a new thing. There's a chopper revealed on the plane with like the folding helicopter flaps or whatever, or rotor or whatever. Then because Terry attacks a guy, but then he flips it around on her because he's like he has glasses, so it's supposed to be like he's supposed to be shown as like a tech dork, but then he like talks about himself being like a Navy SEAL and like how he's gonna beat the shit out of her, and then she just throws a hammer at his head and kills him immediately. So it's like seems like we're missing some of the lead up to this punchline, but whatever. So, I mean, you do have her like get in the action, and then they do have the thing where it's like, yeah, this guy weighs 100 pounds more, and he's gonna throw you around, and then she clevers her way through it by throwing a hammer at his head. So, but of course, I forget to talk about it's a John Woo movie, so just slow motion all over the place. So.
Yeah.
Which became, which all led up to like the Matrix kind of topping all of that, and then everybody just abandoning slow motion after everyone tried to do Matrix slow motion and then kind of doing it incorrectly, and then just slow motion kind of disappeared forever. Or no, disappeared, largely from movies for about the last 15 years. I mean, it's still employed here and there, but it's not like it's not used as frivolously and artistically as it used to be in action movies.
Coolest post-Matrix slow-mo I saw was the Hurt Locker.
Okay, yeah.
It would show like the waves of invisible destruction that come from high explosive.
Oh yeah.
And
and of course, can't forget Dredd.
Yeah, Dredd did it.
Yeah. maybe
like a plot device. Like, this slows down your perception.
And what if we use that to execute a character? This 3 seconds is gonna take for you to die. It's gonna feel like 30 minutes.
And you know how horrible this is. Well, that's the thing about Judge Dredd, and especially in that movie that was so effective. And this is the good guy. Let's see here. So she's about to like try to mess around with the bomb, and then Deacons puts his Beretta 93R to her head. So he's got the what's that? Is that also called like the Rafiki or something like that? It has a bunch of different names. Yeah, it's just listed it as the R here. It doesn't have a lot of.
Yeah, which I never knew what that little thing at the front was, and that's like, oh, that's to hold on to it because this is a full auto Beretta. So. Although bread is a heavy, right? They're just all metal, so that's got to help you a little bit with full auto.
Well, with that and 9 millimeter and the massive compensator flets that are cut into the front of that barrel,
Yeah.
imagine if you had to and you weren't concerned about it, you could probably one hand that thing pretty effectively.
Okay.
With burst fire, not to empty the magazine,
Okay.
but for a
Oh
three
yeah,
round.
because this is also the base for the RoboCop gun.
Yes, yes. He
So,
could one hand it, but
yeah.
that's because he had a hydraulic ram for an arm.
Also, they put another 15 pounds of stud, like of metal on top of that thing. So, but yeah, I've never seen this gun. I don't know. There's a bit where like he runs out of ammo and he's like holding it to his head and like he makes like a weird gesture. It's like that gun looks huge. I didn't realize how big that gun is or how different it is from just a regular Beretta. So,
Yeah, they have it side by side with it. It's thicker, wider, it's definitely more bolstered up, and now that barrel is long
yeah,
because it has all these like Ferrari downforce
yeah,
holes cut in it, where it's actually pushing the nose down a little bit.
yeah.
I think in real life that gun has it's like a super fast cyclic
Yeah, because all those
like slapping, it's
all those full auto pistols, they have crazy cyclic rates because they don't have to cycle back that far.
yeah.
So, um, and it's like lighter weight. So, whereas like with like some machine guns, actually like there's a lot of things keeping those from moving as fast as you want to. So, um, and also, you don't really want them to go that fast because then you're just wasting ammo. And how good are your shots going to be to empty a clip in half a second? So
Yeah, that's dangerous and stupid. Because if you're like doing confined space, it makes sense. It's like get a shotgun. Like
yeah,
that's because I was like, well, what if you're in a confined space? It's like the best weapon is a shotgun that's going to shoot anywhere from 6 to 8 bullets every shot.
yeah, and all these like full auto like handguns are just meant for like guarding presidents and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and like laying down as much fire as like in a moment's notice in case something weird happens. Carried by trained guys that are like the size of football players, and
yeah.
yeah,
Guys that look like all the extra agents in the Matrix.
yeah.
Like they just went and got football players and put them in tight suits.
And presumably these guns are more elegant than an Uzi, which is what these things kind of replace, right? So,
I think so.
I've never seen them used, so I don't know how like actually
I have
used they are.
only one experience with a full auto. I have two experiences with a full auto weapon at a range, and both times it's like, yeah, that's kind of cool, but for me it seemed like super excessive. Like I would never, even if it was possible for me to own something like that, I wouldn't want to because that's just too much. There's too much going on.
Yeah.
It's like there's no call for that. I could never learn how to control that. Have a normal life. If I needed to control something like that, life has gone bad for
Yeah,
me.
you'd have to buy two of them, one to train with, and
Yeah.
because you're like, well, time to do another mag dump to train with.
Yeah, so I have two, one with rifle rounds and one with pistol rounds, and it's like it's fun, but that's all it is for me
Yeah.
because I have no idea how to control something like that. It's like, yeah, I just turn that paper target into confetti, but we recreated that with a Tavor shotgun. Same kind of effect.
Yeah.
It was just like it wasn't full auto, but man, it just like the targets were just blown into confetti. It's like,
Yeah.
well, okay, this is you don't need a full auto when you got this.
um. So yeah, this is also where like Deakins has her like enter in the code to start the nuke, but then she like refuses. There's also it's like very sexual stuff here. There's part where, like he has like the gun near her mouth, and her mouth like pops open, and she kind of like makes like a moaning sound. It's like this is weird as hell. So,
It's the only sexual tension in this movie,
yeah.
done with a guy who's like playing a complete psychopath. Woman up until this point, who you're like, oh, she's plucky and fun.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, he's like raping her with his gun. Weird. It like just makes you hate the guy even more.
Yeah. But then she eventually just refuses to hit it, and then And then he goes to like shoot her off the train.
Yeah.
And then when they open the side door on the train, that's where Wilkins and Hale are on a chopper, and then he just opens fire and at them. With Terry just right there.
Well, she jumps and grabs the external handle on the door and slides out of the way with it.
Yeah.
And he's free to fire.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite the crazy like Matrix Morpheus scene where it's like he's in a helicopter and it's like, I'm going to shoot perfectly around. But, he was in a computer simulation too, so maybe that was possible.
Yeah. Then Hale stops like firing and then just jumps on the train, and then Wilkins takes up the gun. Guys just start crawling up the train to try to fight Terry and Hale while they're up there.
This was filmed on a private railway in Montana, and they had 10 miles. It was a privately owned, and it was called a short line rail company. And I guess they had like 10 miles, so they just kept going back and forth.
Yeah.
And some of the bigger like tunnel scenes and stuff, they could do it once. They could drive through it a few times, but and the train was only going like 10 miles an hour the whole time.
Okay.
Because it was just not safe
to
walk around on that 50, like all the actors die and fall off.
Yeah, if you want to see crazy the train stuff, just go to like Buster Keaton. You'll see the craziest train stuff. So they already did all that. You're not gonna top it. So
well, you're not gonna shoot choreographed action scenes. No stunt man alive is gonna be, unless they're just held up on like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, Wilkins shoots one guy, and then he just has the pilot like chop a guy up with the chopper blades. But again, this is like
he's like, give him a haircut. It's like, no way. I thought this until I saw it.
I was like, that's stupid. That's not, the blades are not going to survive that. But here, they're just impeding.
But as a helicopter pilot, like I said, those intrusive thoughts. It's like, I wanted to grabbing the throttle like, okay,
I am the human blender.
I am a ninja.
So they kill one guy, which they don't like chop his head off. He just kind of like backs up and his chest like explodes open. Probably the most gory thing in the movie, and then he just falls off, or he falls to the side. I can't remember. And then one of the guy ducks it, and then like they get near a tunnel, and then Kelly and Deakins just start firing at the chopper, and then the chopper just unceremoniously crashes in the side of the tunnel, killing Wilkins, and like nobody oh man, nobody like laments his death. He just like, oh well.
For some reason the trained Air Force pilot did not see like the mountain coming up. The guy was not shot at all. He could have just we better.
I mean, they did show like some smoke coming from the helicopter, but still, like, this is like the dumbest death in the movie. It's like,
it seems unnecessary. But it was a way. It's like, get another explosion in there.
Yeah, we gotta blow up. Like, this is our third helicopter to blow up. We have one more helicopter to blow up, and it won't even fly. Hale fights a guy by the chopper, and he gets knocked off the train, but like he holds on to the bottom of the train where he's like getting dragged along the tracks, which just seems like, well, that's pretty gnarly. So.
Yeah, that would suck.
But then we cut to like Terry and Hale end up like they're hiding under the train now. They just kind of cut to that, and then a pilot starts up the chopper on the train car, and then Deacon at the last moment seeing that's been sabotaged, and then it just blows up as he starts the engine or whatever, or like starts the fuel getting sucked into there or whatever. So that blows up. It takes out a couple of guys. You get one guy who gets thrown from the train pretty far. So again, most explosions in this movie don't kill anybody, so this one did. So.
I actually looked it up out of curiosity, because it's always a misnomer that like commercial aircraft, like the fuel in them is like rocket fuel.
Yeah,
because they changed that a long time ago, so it's very hard to get it to burn. I looked up if aviation fuel for helicopters is very flammable, and yes, it actually is. It's a different style of engine.
Yeah.
So it can really burn on you, like not like gasoline. Because they rated it in like VOC volatility something, and it is lower than gasoline, but not a whole lot lower.
Yeah.
Like it's conceivable this might have happened. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's like you can have a smaller explosion, but if the thing is creating higher pressure, then you'll you'll create more reaction or whatever, something like
Well,
that.
any fuel is explosive under pressure too,
Yeah.
because that was the thing. Is like they're always talking about, like, I learned this about tanks in World War II. It's like, well, the Sherman didn't have the most effective armor, or whatever, and it was always making those weird comparisons. It's like, well, yeah, the Russian tanks and the German tanks could take hits, but they stored the fuel in the hulls on a lot of those, and they would go up if you hit the full side, or if the tank was half full, it was the worst. Because if it compressed even diesel fuel, it would explode.
Oh, okay.
It was like, yeah, none of those things were impervious to being hit by artillery or other tanks. It was like they could all explode under the right circumstances. And they said the Russian tanks were more dangerous because their metallurgy, because the Shermans had the best metallurgy. When they got hit, it either went through or it dented. When the Russian metallurgy was so bad, when it hit, it would fracture. It's like a shotgun went off inside the tank, but it never penetrated the hull. You just threw in there, just like everyone's laying. What happened? It didn't even go through. And it's like, yeah, it's like they got shrapnel embedded in their body. So yeah, but I found out even the most non-reactive fuel, if you compress it, that's how it burns. So if you artificially compress it in a sudden, violent way, yeah, it'll explode. I mean, diesel, kerosene, all of it will. So,
Hale tells Terry to like uncouple the car while he goes to fight Deakins. Deakins sets a timer to 5 minutes, but this pisses off Kelly, and they kind of have a standoff for a moment. Kelly's got kind of a cool shotgun here. Is this another Italian shotgun, or what's going on here?
I think this was actually, I think it was a Rossi.
Oh, what's that?
Which is like an Italian shotgun.
Okay.
But let me look and make sure. No, it's a Mossberg. Oh, okay, I thought it was a Rossi.
Oh, okay.
It was a Mossberg, but it was kind of a movie mock-up.
Because it looks like I have a bunch of heat shields on it, so maybe that just makes it.
Yeah, it has the heat shields, and it has an early form laser on the side of it.
Oh, okay. Huh.
It was never used, but it just looked like some kind of like, there's some kind of army thing on the front of it. I thought it was a Rossi. It was a Mossberg.
Huh. Hale has a distraction where he has a guy. He ricks the cable off this satellite dish that was used as cover earlier on, and just kind of falls apart. He wraps a guy up in it, very diehard.
Don't shoot the satellite transmitter that we need. But he didn't. We never got that.
Because there's another use of the please don't shoot the thermonuclear weapon. I think that was back in the cave in the mine.
Yeah.
He takes a dead guy, wraps him up in cable, throws him off the side. That creates a distraction. So then Hale can use the other end of the cable to like swing in and does a swinging kick, and he kicks Kelly off the train like as they're going over a bridge. So he just falls extra far to his death. So it's a cool action moment. So.
Yeah. And there's water down there, but the sound effect they play is like he hit the ground.
Yeah, he just hit the shore and died. So,
yeah.
So that's our football player out of the movie. So,
he was supposed to die a lot earlier, but the production team liked him and thought he looked cool, and John Woo kept him around.
Okay.
Bad guy before the main bad guy died.
That's good. Yeah. Because they try to give him another. Was it Fire Down Below, or no? That's the. Oh no, it's like Firestorm or something like that. He's like a firefighter, and there's like a bank robbery in the middle of it, and he has to fight them. It's not a good movie.
Like a Hellfighter in California or something.
Yeah.
It's one of those firefighters. Like, it's not really firefighting. It's like, can you stay alive and
be fire survivor? Deakins and Hale have a shootout again. It's just like running over, and dual wielding stuff. Oh, I guess Deakins just has the full auto Beretta, so he just uses that. Deakins runs out of bullets, but he has a remote trigger as a bargaining chip, so then he just stands up and holds that up, and then Deakins challenges Hale to a boxing match, so he puts the remote control down with a 20 underneath of it, and then they just start having a fist fight, which is very very 90s and 80s action movie thing to do. Where it's like, let's fight with honor.
Yeah, one guy's like packing a bullet wound, like Deacon's packing a bullet wound.
Yeah.
Hale's been drug under a train. Let's fight like Bruce Lee for, and then we're gonna get a crowbar involved, and it's like, yeah, the bad guy's of course gonna try to use the crowbar on him, but then the good guy drops it at the last minute. And
Yeah.
punches. Yeah, it's a ridiculous fight scene for two guys who would be so traumatized they can barely stand at this point.
But also Hale uses more of like martial arts and like elbows and stuff here, so he seems to have
Yeah.
the upper hand when it's not a boxing match, which essentially comes out of nowhere. But whatever. So.
Yeah. Well,
I
Hale
mean-
knows how to fight on his terms.
Yeah.
What he starts doing as the movie goes on is like, I'm not fighting Deacon on my terms. I'm fighting, or on his terms. I'm fighting him on my terms.
Yeah.
That's kind of the transformation of the character.
Terry uncouples a car and then just jumps off to the other bit, which seems like, why don't you uncouple it from the other side? But whatever. Well, I guess the mechanism was on the other side, so whatever.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Terry starts taking fire from like one of the bad guys that's running the train, and then fire spreads on the train, and then like I forget, I don't know if she fires back or he just dies for some other reason. But
Oh, she shoots him with a Sig Sauer
oh, okay,
9mm at like probably 100 something.
on a moving train.
Yeah, and hits him in the chest like 3 times, and he flies back on the emergency brake.
Yeah. And so that stops those cars. So now the other cars in its momentum are gonna ram into this bit here. Cut back. Hale gets the upper hand in the fight and kicks Deacon against the wall. Like you said, there's a bit here where they pull up a tire iron, like he refuses to kill him, even though he's going to kill him. So, he kicks Deacons up against the wall. He's just kind of like stunned here. Hale grabs the detonator, jumps off the train, and deactivates a bomb where he does like this spin roll in midair and makes sure to point the controller at the bomb, which I thought they were going to have like one thing because it says like disarm and I think detonate. And I thought they were going to have like some trick where it's like, oh, Deacon would have detonate be the disarm, but that's not a thing. So it's, you're done with the movie here. So that's not a thing. The train hits the other train. And so the momentum just like kicks the bomb like impossibly off this table and flies directly at Deacons. No arc to it whatsoever.
No parabola, just straight line trajectory.
And impales
A nuke that weighs 500 or 10 pounds, depending on how physics is working that day.
Circumstantial physics. And impales Deacon, and then then they have a dummy and this bomb fly out the back of the train, comically and blow up, and so the Deacons is completely dead. So, we do see like more rubble, and then like we see the bomb, but like no Deacons. He's not in body parts or anything like that. He's just gone from the movie. He's dead forever. Terry comes up and acts like it's the first time they met, where it's like, hey, or like, hey there, or something like that. I forget, when she's going to arrest him. Then they basically introduce each other again, which they kind of seem like they're going to have like a kiss or something like that. But then they kind of like have like an almost hug, but then do like the bro like handshake thing.
Yeah.
It's like super weird. So I don't know if just like they had bad chemistry and it's like, let's keep that bad chemistry in this movie, or if that's just, not what they're interested in. So
No, her and Christian Slater were in a relationship before they
okay.
the movie, but not at the time.
Okay. And then just credits.
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna have some mirroring of the opening scene because it's like, oh, this is gonna come back later, but no, it's just just John Woo flair. So So yeah, just a very fun, stupid action movie that you can watch and enjoy. And you just don't have. You can rip it apart if you want to, but yeah, just enjoy it.
Yeah, there's not really. Like I said, this is a movie that you have to take it at it's the fun scale. It's not like, oh, I like this plot point, or maybe it doesn't hold together very well here just because of this obscure reason. It's like, no.
I forgot the line about the guy where they talk about because they're talking about why would they steal why would they steal an American nuke when you can get like one for like $2,000 in any
Yeah,
backwater?
in a former Soviet bloc country for the price of a 7 Series BMW or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which I think a line was used like that, similar like in the Peacekeeper, that one with George Clooney from
Okay, yeah.
uh,
But yeah, they still nuclear threat was still a thing in the movie, but again in the '90s. But again, that was because of the collapse of the Soviet Union. So it's like,
yeah.
oh, this stuff is going to be everywhere. So
And that was not like an invalid, crazy assumption.
yeah,
The Russians ended up not doing it because essentially they would be held responsible. Like if they sold a nuke to terrorists and they nuked New York City, that doesn't mean we'd annihilate Russia, but it's like, oh, we're gonna sanction you for every life that was lost.
yeah.
We're gonna destroy your economy. We're gonna implode your country. If you think you're starving now, just wait. So the Russians kind of pulled their crap together with nukes, and like maybe we shouldn't leave these lying around. Also, people didn't want to really buy into that matrix of because they know what the Russian military equipment was like. It's like, well, how good could their nukes be?
um, but yeah, it was just I think was it True Lies that also had like nukes in it. They even
Yeah,
set one off in that movie. They have a kiss to a nuke going off in that movie.
yeah, they nuked like the Florida Keys or something.
Yeah.
The Florida Keys. That was a very cool scene.
Um. Yeah, a bunch. Yeah. Yeah. But and then like all the James Bond movies are. Well, I mean, one was more about nukes, but. um. But yeah. But yeah, this is a cool John Woo movie. If you're gonna watch John Woo, you'll come across this eventually. So.
Yeah, and it's worth a look.
Yeah, yeah. There's worse John Woo movies. There's way better John Woo movies too. So.
Yeah, and it's kind of an interesting like piece of like '90s action cinema history too. Like it's right in the lane with so many other things that were being done like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
time, and it's like, yeah, they don't do this anymore,
yeah.
for good or bad. They don't really do things like this. They don't do R-rated stuff with
No.
multi-dollar budgets.
And
'Cause
this
that's
really wanted to be hard to turn this into a PG-13
no, there's
movie.
you. I think really crushing the guy's windpipe with a flashlight, like you could eliminate some of the
You
more,
yeah, you get rid of all the squibs. You could just make them dust
yeah,
squibs. You could not hit the guy with the chopper or just cut away earlier. So yeah, there's things you could have done to make this PG-13 because like people aren't really swearing that much. There's no nudity. There's no swearing, or there's
sex
no sex in this movie. So yeah. Um. But yeah, this is very like, again, this guy wrote Speed, so that's kind of a Die Hard movie. This is also a very Die Hard adjacent movie. This is not as good as Die Hard at all, but it's
no,
a fun movie. I mean, you watch this, Face Off, it fits right in line with there. The Rock fits right in there. It's like it's a cool, stupid action movie, and Con Air 2, that's even dumber movie. So with worse performances and bad accents, but
everyone kind of takes their time.
yeah.
We're gonna tell everyone's story on this damn plane, page at a time.
Just a plane of character actors.
Yeah.
And Dave Chappelle. One of the most unceremonious deaths in a movie.
Keep forgetting he was in that. Yeah.
He just like freezes to death in the wheel well, and then the guy writes some stuff on his body and throws it off the plane to get a message across to John Cusack's character.
Yeah.
Which like this movie and that movie are very similar things. Where it's like the Giles character and the John Cusack character for Con Air are kind of like the similar characters, but it's used more effectively in Con Air, weirdly. So it's like, we need one civilian that's on his side.
Uh,
um, let's see here. Where are we? Where are my notes? My notes are traveling away. Well, we're sending our program to space containing a supercut of scenes from the imperfect collection of the movies that is the Verhoeven. We have we're gonna shove one scene into space. Nathan, what one scene from Broken Arrow we shoving into space?
Got to have the Humvee chase scene where it's like he says at conversational volume while in a gunfight, please do not shoot at them. Because that's like everyone remembers that from
Yeah,
this movie.
that
And it
is
establishes everything you need to know about this movie.
yeah, that's cinema, baby.
Because at least in the Hunt for Red October, it like made sense. Like, yeah, don't shoot guns down here, mainly because it's crappy Soviet technology. We still use liquid fueled rockets in our sub, which is a death. Because you know what happens when the rocket fuel mixes with salt water, don't you?
Explodes.
It forms sulfuric acid that
Oh,
you
okay.
breathe in and try to fight a fire in a submarine with, while your mask is dissolving down your throat because it's creating sulfur. That's why we use solid fuel in our submarines. But the Russians could never figure out how to make solid fuel stay potent
Huh.
for storage. So they used to
Okay,
use
right.
fuel. Well, the Russians couldn't do a lot of things like the Soviets, actually. Soviets, I'm assuming the Russians still can't, but um, like the reason they made 15 billion tons of anthrax was they couldn't make it shelf stable. So just we made it like, once every 5 years we'd make it, throw it out, make more. Oh, they made like warehouses full of it. They went to Clinton, like, could you help us get rid of it? Sure, we could burn some anthrax for you. What you got, a few thousand pounds? Like, no, metric tons. What the fuck? Why you have all that? What are you gonna do? Kill us 20 times? Well, we couldn't make it shelf stable. It's like, oh God, you should have asked us. Hell, we tell you how to do that. This is ridiculous. How are we gonna get rid of all this anthrax? Is it really lethal? It's like, oh yeah. When that strain got out at the one place, it killed like 500 people, and we lied about it. What? These Ruskies are crazy. Al, go tell them about the environment.
Well, just mail it to us one envelope at a time. So.
Yeah, just mail it on over.
You can find us at Letterboxd, username VHE. 1 out of 5 stars. What are we giving Broken Arrow?
I'm going to give Broken Arrow 4 stars just for raw entertainment value. I'm going to deduct 1 point because if you've ever, like, I don't know, walked outside or read this movie apart pretty quickly, but it is wildly entertaining.
Okay.
And you can do this movie in like paint or something because it doesn't require like, what kind of Machiavellian plot point am I going to miss if I look away?
Yeah, I chose it in a panic. It's like, what's something we'd like that's disposable? It's like Broken Arrow.
We can watch this very easily. It's like
an hour and 49 minutes. So, yeah.
I don't have to look up stuff about like Russian film theory.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is great. This is American entertainment at its best. It looks cool. It sounds cool. It gets science wrong. And it's everything we love to do on this podcast.
Yes.
Things that are stupid authoritatively. Hell, you can become president. They always said you could be president one day.
Now we know there's no boundaries other than money. So.
Yeah.
Well, you can find us at verhoeffect.com. There we have listener support. You can support us on monthly stipend of 99 cents, $4.99 or $9.99. Cancel anytime. You can rate our podcast whatever you want. Remember, the algorithm only listens to the highest rating. Remember, you control the algorithm. Statement. Control the algorithm. So.
Yes, control it.
You can find us at Twitter at Verhoeven Effect. You can find us at Blue Sky Social at Verhoeven Effect. And you can find us at Facebook at Verhoeven Effect. And you can find us on YouTube at American Greed Factory. Watch both this and that show live and unedited. We are independent of everything.
Yeah, we're not controlled by corporate overlords, except the ones that pay us to do our actual jobs. Believe it or not, folks, we're not paying for a lot with this low effort content. Yeah. It's,
So for the Verhoeven Effect podcast, I'm Conlon.
and I'm Nathan.
Goodbye, America.